Welcome, my little couch potatoes, to the comfiest courtroom on the internet. I'm your host, Llama, and it's time for dramatic testimony, overruled objections, and absolutely unqualified opinions. So grab your snuggiest blanket, some delicious snacks, and get ready to watch court with your internet besties. This is Couch Court with Llama.
Hello. Hello and good morning, couch potatoes. I'm here. I made it. What is that noise? Oh, it's my phone. I was like, I'm not streaming anything yet. Sorry about that. Oh, it's a Monday, you guys. There we go. I'm like, I don't speak whatever that is. Anyway, sorry about that. Hi, good morning. Hope you all are doing great. We got ourselves a new trial, New Hampshire versus Dustin Duren, which I'll explain to you in just a minute what that's about. But let's say good morning to everybody because it's been a while. So good morning, Lady in Gray. Good morning to you. Juju, I hope you're doing better. Happy to see you here. Your host did not oversleep. I did not oversleep, but it was definitely one of those mornings where I was just like out of everything. I was out of foundation. I found another one. I was out of coffee. I had to make another pot. Just typical Monday. But I'm here. I went to bed early and everything because I had to get like 10 hours of sleep in the wintertime. I was not on Discord all night, but you know me pretty well, Juju. Good morning to you. Hey, Elbow Feet. Good morning, even though you just left. On Top X, thank you. Thank you for the super sticker. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great day while you're at work. Good morning, Pam. So excited about new trial. I am as well. So this trial popped up on Friday. They've already picked a jury, according to what we could find on the internets. The lovely Angie, there she is. I'm sorry, I skipped you, Angie. The lovely Angie found this trial for me on Friday. And I was like, oh, this does seem interesting. So here's what we know about it. I don't know much about this case, but this is what I do know. So it says that this is New Hampshire versus Dustin Duren. He's standing charges for the murder. He murdered the mother of his children, but his defense attorney says he acted in self-defense, which, if you've watched enough trials, you know what that means. That means somebody is more than likely to take the stand because it's very hard to claim self-defense because of the criteria that you have to meet. So the person that claims it usually has to take the stand, which is always a doozy. So he is 38. He's charged with second-degree murder, reckless conduct with a deadly weapon, and child endangerment in the death of Caitlyn Naffziger, 31, who was shot to death on February 29th, 2024. Now, police issued an Amber Alert on March 1st for the couple's children after Naffziger was found dead in an apartment near Berlin. The two girls were found unharmed with Duren after his car was spotted in an Applebee's parking lot approximately 170 miles away. As I said, Duren's defense is planning to argue that he acted in self-defense because she was trying to kidnap their children. An audio recording of a conversation between dispatchers and officers from the day the Amber Alert was issued revealed that Duren is also a Marine veteran who suffers from PTSD. So I think it's going to be a very interesting trial to watch and see what the rest of the story is. That's all I know. That's not really a whole lot to go on. I mean, I do have some questions already, such as you notice they have different names, last names. Did they have a legal custody agreement to where it could even be considered kidnapping? If he didn't have any rights to the kids, she didn't actually have to give them to him, and it wouldn't be kidnapping. But I don't know. I don't know any of these details. That's what I know. And so that's what we're going to watch. And now with this trial, we're going to do something a little bit different, you guys. Because what we're going to do is we're going to do morning streams and afternoon streams and kind of take a break in between the two. Some days I'll just be using that break to get up and walk around. Or I may use it to do a Llama Learns About for our members. But I've decided I want to give it a try, this one, to see, how that goes. I don't think this is going to be a very long one. I have the state witness list, which is pretty long, but it's all law enforcement. So I don't really think they need to call that many people to the stand, because also we know that he did kill her, because he's saying, yeah, I did, but it's self-defense. So you don't really need like that much testimony. And then the defense's witness list is a whole 5 people, not including Dustin. So I think it's going to be like maybe a week, if that. We'll see. Oh, just another manic Monday, right? Yes, that's how it feels. Juju says Chris Watts vibes, totally different details though. The kids survived. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what it pans out being. That's right. Every time you like, a llama earns its gavel, which is in my bedroom. Oh, elbow feet. He takes things and he moves them away. Pam says, so glad the children are safe. Too many of recent cases haven't ended that way. That's true. I was a little surprised when I read that. So that is a good thing. Unfortunately, all too often that's not the case. And that's really unfortunate and sad. So again, we'll see. We'll keep an open mind. I don't know anything else about this. So we're supposed to get right into opening statements. We'll see how on time this court is. They haven't even put up a seal yet. So we'll see. Excuse me. Have any of you heard of this case besides just recently? I don't know if any of you are close to New Hampshire. So what else? How was your guys' weekend? Mine was pretty good. I was on Discord on Saturday, binging the new Monster, the Ed Gein story, which I thought was pretty good. I know the internet's not very happy with it, but it's a drama. It's not entirely based on real events. That's what that word means. So I don't know why they were up in arms about it. I thought it was fairly good. The last episode, take it or leave it. They really didn't even need to do the last episode. Didn't care for it. I thought they should have ended on the ending they did, because that was a pretty strong ending there. But either way, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Is it weird? Yes, it is weird. It's Ryan Murphy. Why would you expect it to be anything than what it was? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, we enjoyed you stopping in and watching that with us as well. What else? Oh, and then yesterday we watched A Deadly American Marriage. And if you guys have not seen that documentary on Netflix, it came out quite a few months ago, but we just now got around to watching it. And it is wild. It is wild. I thought about it all last night, because it's like the Adelson story meets Sherry Papini. Like it's nuts. It's crazy. The Molly and her dad Tom, they are liars who lie. Like, oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. So I really recommend checking that out. So good morning, Sam. Hello, Sammy Sunshine. Waiting in the car line. It's an early day. It was Ryan Murphy. Who would expect it to be nothing but factual? I mean, Ryan, whatever. I enjoyed it. And who gives a shit what the internet thinks about things? I don't. Sometimes they're right. They were right about Captain America Brave New World. That was not good. But sometimes they're wrong. Okay? And this time, in my opinion, they're wrong. But to each their own. To each their own. What all did you guys do? Ooh, you watched the Perfect Neighbor documentary this weekend. I've heard about that. I hear it's just body cam footage, right? I think that's what I heard. There's no narration or anything. Ooh, we might have to watch that in the courtyard, friends. That could be good. No, I've heard really good things about that. She just said, no, don't know a lot about this case. I tried to watch The Revenant last night with Leonardo DiCaprio last night. Depressing movie. Ugh, you know. Yeah, that one will get you. That one will get you. Oh, well, you guys, you know what I'm excited about is this week, the lovely Terry True Crime is back with Europe, or back from Europe, back with Europe. She just took all of Europe with her, packed it in her luggage. It's fine. Um, so she's back this week. We'll have Midday Missing. She'll be back with me for True Crime and Wine Time. This week's story is called All Duckies Go to Heaven, the devastating tale of Judith Barcy. And if you're a millennial like me, we grew up with two movies that like ripped our hearts out very early on in our lives. The Land Before Time and All Dogs Go to Heaven. Like, I don't know of two sadder movies, to be quite honest. And she was the little girl who voiced Ducky. Yep. And Anne Marie in All Dogs Go to Heaven. And she was brutally murdered by her father. So grab the Kleenexes on Thursday. You're gonna want to hear that. So there's Savage. Hey, good morning, Savage, as the official spokesperson for the internet. What did we get wrong? Oh, no, not you. Just, people complaining about everything everyone else does, even when they don't write things, but, good morning to you. Angie says, was all just body cam footage, part of her interrogations, and a court snippet at the end. Interesting. Yep. I know. Me, my bro, when we were little, used to say that all the time. Yep. Oh, little ducky. Pam says, got drenched in rain while watching the grandson play football yesterday. Good times. It rained here from the time I went to bed. Hold on. Good job, New Hampshire. Look at that. Look at them go. I hope this isn't the only angle they have. That would be kind of annoying. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that down because they're obviously not ready. We'll just wait because that's a lot going on. I really hope that's not the only camera angle they do. That would be very annoying indeed. That is like the brightest. Here, I'll pull it up again. I just muted it. We'll leave it up, but we'll leave it muted because I don't really need to hear their entire conversation. Look how bright of a courtroom that is. I've never seen a courtroom that is that light. So that's interesting. Interesting design there. Oh, I know, right? Not great. If so, though, that looks like here. Oh, you can't see. My mouse doesn't work like that. It looks like in the far right there is the witness stand. So maybe they'll be able to like zoom in on the witness stand or something. I don't know. That's probably the IT guys right there in that striped shirt. That's probably him. It does look fairly modern, right? Right? Yeah, I'm assuming the jury box is behind the TV, which makes sense, but oof, yikes. Then we won't see anything they play on the TV. Oh my gosh. Where's Terry? I'm going to need her to call them. I'm just kidding. Don't call them, guys. Don't do that. Yeah, we'll see what it goes. Sometimes they change things up after the first day. So we'll see. We'll make it work. Why not? I just imagine that there's definitely going to be like, body cam we probably will need to see, like when they arrested him, and the girls. I wonder what all they got. So, and those little bar gates are kind of funny too. An interesting place. This is New Hampshire. It's more rude than Massachusetts. Yes. Yes, it is. Oh my goodness. Interesting. I love how our courthouses are different depending where you are. That's always fun. That seal also looks very small on that wall. This looks like a brand new courthouse. Probably is. How big's New Hampshire? New Hampshire's not very big. Cameraman Skippy, get it together, sir. Ain't nobody got time for this. Oh, they were. Even I was claustrophobic during that. Like, oh, it's too close, too many people. Good morning, Pilola's mom. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Long time no see. I will add New Hampshire to the places that for Llama learns about. For those of you might have been wondering where I've been the last week or two, since I wasn't doing any trials. I was hanging out with our members. I started my new show for the Besties in Hire, Llama Learns About, which is my favorite, to be quite honest with you. It's a fun time. We get together. I have a list of, 3 things that we're going to learn about that I don't know anything. And we learn in real time. And sometimes the members get to pick a number and which topic we do. And it's very random and weird and also great. We've done 5 of them already, and we've learned about a lot of stuff. So it is fun. I like it. It's very me, if you knew me outside of here. Thank you, Pilola's mom. It's a good time. So I'll probably be doing that Tuesday and Friday during our lunch breaks, members, by the way. So that way we can get a few in this week, because I don't know what time this trial or court closes. Oh, look at that guy. I don't know what time they end court in the morning. They're already late. As we can see, nobody's in here, and it's 9:07. The defendant isn't even in here. Those must be the prosecutors. Okay. Interesting. Oh, I do see they have a paper writing pad. You know how much of a fan I am of those. Interesting. For a new place, it's not looking as high tech as some of these others. And they got a lot of wall space. Why is the TV just sitting right there? Oh, jeez. Oh, Pam says I really enjoy those. I haven't caught all live, but was on Rewatch Crew. Very interesting topics. Well, good. I'm glad you get to watch them, even as replay crew. Oh, that guy is with law enforcement. You see his sheriff's badge. It's pretty cool. Oh, very close up of this guy. Oh, my coffee's already gotten cold. Boo. Boo. What else do we have going on this week? Let me see. Let me pull up my calendar. I feel like there's stuff I'm supposed to talk about. Stupid gnat. I swear, there's just only one gnat that lives in my house. And I know they don't live very long, but I'm convinced that this is the same gnat. And it's only right here. It's nowhere else. Just once or twice a day. Maybe it's a ghost gnat. I don't know. But yeah, so we have Midday Missing that I talked about. That's going to be live. It's been pre-recorded the last couple of weeks while Terry was out of town. Ooh, how was Terry's trip? I think fantastic. She hasn't even filled me in on all the details. I'm sure she wants to tell us all about it. But I did get to see some pictures while she was away. And man, I would love to go to Europe. It was gorgeous. So jealous. But she is back. She seemed to have a great time. Couldn't find the start time for today. Hey, this is the first day of trial. The first day of any trial is usually a mess. So It is what it is. So what's for snacks today? Well, you know what's funny, you guys, is that I really only eat a lot of snacks, I've learned, when I'm watching trials. So I still got a lot of my snack arsenal somewhere around here. Oh, no, wait, I put them up there. So we still got Nerds. We still got peanut butter M&Ms. Still got some Twizzlers and some pretzels. So yeah, it turns out Court just makes me want to snack a lot. So I still got all those. What do you guys got for snacks? That's what I want to know. Angie says Midday Missy returns live, right? Yeah, it's supposed to. So I think we're doing one today. I'm not 100% on that. I do kind of look like that. Oh, that's funny. They haunt me and stalk me. Yes, I'm convinced that's exactly what's going on with these Gannettes. You're on your 6th cup of coffee. Oh, girl, this was just my first, and I barely drank any of it. It's going to be a long week. Lady in Gray says they need to go to Publix. They have gummy clusters on BOGO this weekend. Girl, go. Run. Run as fast as you can. Juju's been binging Dollar Tree suckers. Nice. Nice. Oh, boy. That's kind of funny. They'd be so annoyed with all my commentary already. Oh, that must be them putting evidence away in a box. So, okay. Looks like we got 2 prosecutors. I don't know their names. I guess we'll learn them. I'm really bad at learning lawyers' names. So, it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, what else was I talking about? I already did True Crime and Wine Time. Oh yeah. So yeah, if you guys aren't a member, you should really think about becoming a member. The lowest tier is 99 cents a month. And we've been doing a lot of stuff for our members lately. Like I said, my new show, Llama Learns About, which is a lot of fun. And if you're nerdy and you like learning new things, that's perfect. That's for the besties level or higher. We have TMI, which is for all members. We have a show this Friday again at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's been very fun. A lot of fun. We get very silly on there. I mean, we played MASH, the school game, last Friday. It was great. I don't remember what my end results were, but I think Lady in Gray gossips to fish. I don't know. You'll hear the stories this Friday from last Friday's show. Then Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have our Zoom Hangout, which is, I don't remember what level that's for and higher, but we do that about an hour before our TMI. So we all go into Zoom. It is not recorded. You can be on audio and video if you want. You don't have to be, but we all just hang out beforehand, have a couple cocktails before we do TMI. It's a good time. And then next Monday will be our member appreciation stream. I think I'll double check that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that yet until I know for sure. No, scratch that. Strike it from the record, please, and thank you. Now we are trying to do a fan art contest for our members where you can submit whatever kind of art. It doesn't matter. Traditional, Photoshop, whatever, of Terry and I, and that'll be a contest for when we do our member appreciation stream. So you can just email those to me at tara@tcwtmedia.com. So oh, speaking of, there's Savage. Oh yes, Savage likes to call Llama Learns About. Llama learns how to pronounce things wrong. Which I do all the time. It's fine, because that's the thing about learning, right? It's fun. It is so fun. He thought I put myself on the screen on purpose. Oh boy. You know what? I'm not going to be upset if this court doesn't start at 9 every day. Not going to be upset about it. Did you say Lig gossips to fish? Yeah, I believe that was her on or her useless superpower that got picked when we played MASH. So it's hilarious. Is that like vacuuming your yard? Oh no, yeah, that. Oh yes, that's right. I live in a haunted RV and have a gas station wedding. And my pet, if I remember right, my pet is an AI powered snail named Snamuel. So we will have all those fanfic roulette stories for you guys on TMI on Friday. It's going to be fun. Oh, and I forgot too, this week for TMI, for our members, we got some new, well, not new people, but we got a big group of hosts this week. We got myself, Amos, the Lady in Gray, Terry, True Crime, and the lovely Annie is going to be on. So you got 5 of us this week. So yes, Snamuel. Oh man, I thought I was so clever with Snamuel. Let me tell you what. I was like, good job, Llama. Good job. Oh, well, you can always go back and watch, Pam. Oh, you know what I just noticed, Pam, is the cute little jack-o'-lanterns next to your name. That is adorable. See, I'm not that awake yet, but that's cute because normally it's flowers, right? I'm pretty sure normally it's sunflowers, if I recall. And now it's jack-o'-lanterns. Very clever. I love that. I also forgot we're dressing up for the Halloween TMI show. I don't know what I'm going to be. Well, we'll see. Get creative, I guess. I still got pickle tits over there, so could do that. Oh, you did just change for the flowers. Nice. Well, I love that. That is very fun. Let's see. What else is there? What else have I been up to? I don't really know. Do we have anything going on? Oh, Angie, you always get the best screenshots of my face. My face always doing weird things like, oh, are you going to be Officer Bullet? Miss, I'm not going to dress up in costumes. It's weird. I don't do that. But I do that for all of Llama's murder mysteries. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. You should be Officer Bullet. Yes. You heard. Yes, Pickle Tits. So last year on Halloween for a show that we used to do called Hey Ho, I dressed as a pirate and I was at my mom's house. And so she had like a pirate get up and she had this stuffed parrot. Hold on. I'll get Pickle Tits is never that far away from me, but he's had rougher looking days. But he's here. I'll need to glue that feather back on there. That's not great. Sorry, Pickle Tits. Anyway, so he was my little parrot who sometimes I bring out, and he sits right here. And we let the chat name him, and they went with Pickle Tits. As a matter of fact, I think my mom came up with the name Pickle Tits. So this is Pickle Tits. I probably shouldn't say that so many times right away in the morning, but that's its name. All right? It's the name of the bird. What am I supposed to do? Anyway, so that's who that is. He's a bit of a celebrity, in case you didn't know. So, right. I could be Elbow Feet's Bridezilla costume. Oh my goodness, right? I could do that. We do have the veil thing. Though I imagine it's probably pretty hard streaming. You won't get to see my face. Oh, I'll look like Kim Kardashian or whoever that was over the weekend that was like wearing that beige thing over her face. I don't know. I love Officer Bullet too. Because this is so funny. He moves when you move, he does. I'm always, his claws like dig into my shoulder and everything. That's an actual taxidermy parrot, by the way. No, it's not. It would be bigger than that. Well, you were not hearing things. I mean, if there's any show you're going to hear about that, it would definitely be this one. Oh, man. You know what? Pardon me real quick, guys, but I really got to warm up my coffee because they haven't even brought this guy out yet. So let me, if you don't mind, give me just a minute, maybe two, to re-up my coffee and get my to-go coffee cup prepared and whatnot. Because it should be done brewing now because Elbow Feet only left me with like one glass. I'm looking at you, Elbow Feet. Oh my gosh, who's that guy? Oh, he's a sheriff. He's got a star and everything. All right, let me go. Here, you know what? I didn't even turn the sound on. For no, that would never happen. I love birds, but oh, Mario and Luigi. That's cute. All right, I'll be back, friends.
Good morning. Thank you. Please be seated.
Ooh, I got back just in time, and look what I got. Gavel. I found it. Okay. Right. Speaking of, I need more creamer. Elbow feet. Thank you. All right. Hi, Buff. Let's see. Hello, Ween Baby. That's a fun name. Daria, good morning. Welcome. We're just getting ready to start the trial. They're swearing in the jury right now. Just in time. There we go. Oh, stupid mouse. Sorry, guys. The next charge ID is 2217222C. The state alleges that Dustin Duren of or formerly of Berlin in the state of New Hampshire on February 29th of 2024 at Berlin in the county of aforesaid with force and arms did commit the crime of reckless conduct with a deadly weapon, and that Dustin Duren did recklessly engage in conduct which placed another ED, endangered serious bodily injury, to wit, by shooting Caitlyn Naffziger with there we go. While holding ED, said acts being contrary to the form of the statute, such case made and provided against. I know, right? Hear ye, hear ye. I miss it. Me too. It's day one, though, Ange. So. I could probably bump this up. Magic. It was, Angie. I didn't even notice that. Excuse me. I hope that helped. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defendant has been arraigned on the charges and has pleaded not guilty, and of this he puts himself in upon this country for trial, which country you are. The Attorney General for the state has joined the issue, and you are to say by your verdict if the defendant is guilty of the crimes whereof he stands charged or not guilty. Hearken to the evidence. Mr. Duren, you may be seated. Okay, let's go.
Okay, thank you, Clerk Covalento. Good morning again, members of the jury.
Welcome.
Thank you for your punctuality. Thank you for your service.
Hi, Dave.
Okay, you are about to hear opening statements by counsel. Before that, I'm going to give you some general instructions as to the law that applies to this case, which will give you some guidance as you consider the evidence.
Judge Frizzle.
At the end of the case, after you've heard the evidence and closing arguments, I will give you further instructions, and then you will retire to the jury deliberation room to decide your verdict. You will receive a written copy of these instructions when you are ready to deliberate. In order to reach a fair and just verdict, you must understand and follow the law as I explain it to you.
Thank you, audio guy.
You have to understand the definitions of the crimes with which the defendant is charged. You have to understand how convinced one way or the other you should be before you reach your verdict, and you have to understand what to consider in deciding whether to believe a particular witness. These instructions, as I said, will explain the law as to these and other matters so that you can reach a fair and just verdict. It is up to you to decide the facts of this case. You and you alone are the judges of the facts. You must decide the facts solely from the evidence in this trial.
Exactly,
You
is like
apply the facts
that.
as you find them to be to the law as I give it to you in these instructions, and in this way, you reach your verdict. You should decide the facts in this case without prejudice, without fear, and without sympathy. You are to decide the facts based only on the evidence, and the evidence in this case consists of the testimony under oath of the witnesses and any exhibits which are admitted into evidence. Those exhibits will go with you into the jury deliberation room. There are certain other matters that you may not consider as evidence. The fact that the defendant has been arrested and charged with a crime is not evidence of his guilt. In this case, the defendant was charged by means of a document called an indictment. An indictment is simply a way of giving the defendant notice of the accusations against him. This type of document is a formal way of accusing him of a crime in order to bring him to trial. In your deliberations, you must not consider the fact of the defendant's arrest, the indictment, or the defendant is being brought to stand trial as evidence of the defendant's guilt. The possible punishment the defendant may receive if you return a guilty verdict should not influence your decision. The duty of imposing sentence is solely for the judge, and you should consider the evidence presented and base your verdict only on the evidence without considering the issue.
Like Kentucky, where it's like you can decide.
What the lawyers
What
say
they
to
should
you
get.
is not evidence. In their opening statements and their closing arguments, the lawyers will discuss their view of the facts to help you understand the evidence from their point of view. But the lawyers are not witnesses in this matter, and therefore they cannot testify.
Is it
Therefore,
your
what they
birthday,
say to you
Dave?
is not evidence in the case.
Happy
If the lawyers
birthday.
state the evidence differently from how you recall it, then you should follow your own memory of what
Happy
the
birthday
evidence
to you,
was.
Dave.
Also,
Happy you're
if the
here.
lawyers state the law differently from the law as I explain it to you in these instructions, then you must disregard what the lawyers have said about the law and follow my instructions. It is quite common during a trial for the lawyers to make objections. Lawyers are supposed to object when they believe that certain evidence may not be admissible under our rules of evidence. Please do not hold it against either party if they make these objections, and sometimes these objections require bench conferences. If I sustain an objection and I exclude any evidence, you must not guess as to what the evidence might have been. If I order that a question and answer be stricken from the record, you must not consider either the question or the answer
You guys
as
are the
evidence.
best.
Likewise, if I overrule an objection and I admit certain evidence, then you must not give that evidence any special weight as a result of my ruling. I am not expressing views as to the importance of evidence when I make my rulings. I am merely applying the law, as is my duty. Throughout the trial, I must be fair and impartial, just as you are required to be. So if I say or do anything during the trial that causes you to believe that I favor one party over the other, I now instruct you that I do not favor either party in this case. The role of the judge is to run the trial in a fair and orderly manner, to decide the admissibility of evidence, and to instruct you, the jury, on the law that applies to the case. You and you alone, as I said, are the judges of the facts, and you decide the verdict. Now that I've told you what you must not consider, I'm going to tell you what you can consider as evidence.
Okay.
You should consider the testimony of witnesses and any exhibits that may have been introduced as evidence. In other words, you should consider only the legally admissible evidence and reasonable inferences that you can draw from the evidence. By reasonable inferences,
Yes.
I mean conclusions which reason and common sense lead you to draw from the facts that are proven to your satisfaction. There are two ways for a party to prove a particular fact in the case, either through direct or circumstantial evidence. Direct evidence is direct proof of a fact, such as the testimony of a witness based upon personal knowledge. That is, what the witness actually saw, heard, or otherwise directly experienced. Circumstantial evidence is indirect evidence, which tends to prove a disputed fact by proof of other facts. In other words, circumstantial evidence is proof of a chain of facts and inferences that tend to prove whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty. Let me give you a brief example to demonstrate the difference between direct and circumstantial evidence.
Okay.
Assume that when you enter the courthouse, it is cloudy outside. While you are in the court, you see someone come into the
I
building.
see it's not
who's
your
wearing
first
rain boots,
time, Ween
the
baby.
person is soaking wet, and they're closing an umbrella. If you could actually look out the window and see for yourself that there is rain falling from the sky, that would be direct evidence that it is raining outside. In
I have my
contrast,
tiara
if you
here.
cannot see for yourself whether it is raining outside, you still could consider the facts and circumstances of the person you observed entering the court with the rain boots and umbrella to determine whether it is raining
Then
outside.
welcome.
That is an example of circumstantial evidence. You should consider both types of evidence, direct and circumstantial. There is no legal distinction between the weight of direct evidence as compared to circumstantial evidence. You are permitted to give equal weight to both, but you must decide how much weight to give any evidence, whether it be direct or circumstantial. There is, however, a rule relating to circumstantial evidence that you must keep in mind. If the state presents only circumstantial evidence to prove one or more elements of a charged offense, then in order to convict,
That'd be
you
fantastic.
must find that the totality of the evidence as to those elements excludes all reasonable conclusions other than guilt. This means if it is reasonable to arrive at two conclusions, one consistent with guilt and one consistent with innocence, then you must choose the reasonable conclusion consistent with innocence. In determining whether all reasonable conclusions other than guilt have been excluded, you should not consider any item of circumstantial evidence in isolation. Rather, you should consider each item of circumstantial evidence in the context of all the other evidence. You must understand, however, that this circumstantial evidence rule does not apply to direct evidence. If there is a conflict between two or more witnesses who offer direct evidence concerning certain facts, you must decide which witness to believe. For example, suppose there are two eyewitnesses to a crime, and one testifies that the defendant committed the crime, and the other testifies that the defendant did not commit the crime. This presents a situation where there is a conflict in the direct evidence. In this situation, you, the jury, must decide which witness to believe and whether, based upon all of the evidence,
Full Metal
the state has
Jacket,
proven
right,
the defendant's
Savage?
guilt
I think
beyond
so.
a reasonable doubt. Similarly, if only one witness provides direct evidence concerning an offense charged, then you must decide whether to believe that particular witness, considering the fact
Judge Newman was pretty awesome.
considerations you would ordinarily use in deciding whether to believe a person based upon your common sense and good judgment.
This is not a death penalty case,
Now, in
no.
reviewing the evidence, you should
Second-degree
consider
murder
the quality
charge,
of the
so.
evidence and not the quantity.
Crime of
It
passion.
is not the number of witnesses or the
People.
quantity of the evidence that is important, but the quality of the evidence. That is, how persuasive the evidence is to you. In summary, you should consider all the evidence in the case and decide whether the state has proven the defendant guilty beyond.
Oh, what is
a
her
reasonable
name?
doubt.
Judge.
In deciding this
Trial.
case, you must decide the credibility of witnesses.
her.
That is, it is up to you to decide who to believe. If there is any conflict between the witnesses, then you must resolve the conflict. Simply because a witness has taken an oath to tell the truth does not mean that you have to accept the testimony as true. Use your common sense and judgment. Consider factors you use in deciding important issues in your everyday lives. For example, you may consider the following: the witness's appearance, attitude, and behavior on the witness stand and the way the witness testified, the witness's age, intelligence, and experience, the witness's opportunity and ability to see or hear the things about which the witness testified, the accuracy of the witness's memory, any motive of the witness not to tell the truth, any interest that a witness had in the outcome of the case, any bias of the witness or friendship or animosity the witness may have for or against any of the other people in the case, the consistency or inconsistency of the witness's testimony, whether or not what the witness said appears reasonable or unreasonable, whether what the witness said is consistent or inconsistent with the testimony of other witnesses or with statements the witness
Here, I'm going to
made,
put the information of the case in the chat for you guys
deciding which witnesses to believe
that are just
and
coming
how much
in.
of their testimony to believe. You should consider both the direct and cross-examination of the witnesses. If you believe that part of a witness's testimony is false, You may choose to distrust other parts also, but you are not required to do so. Inconsistencies
There you
and
go, friends.
contradictions within a witness's testimony
Sorry to
or
spam the
between
chat
witnesses
mods.
do not necessarily mean that you should disbelieve the witness. It is possible for honest people to witness the same event and see or hear things differently. You should evaluate inconsistencies and contradictions and determine whether they are important or
Iowa?
unimportant. You need not believe any witness even though the testimony is uncontradicted, nor are you required to accept testimony as true simply because some or even all of the witnesses agree with each other. You may find the testimony of one witness or of a few witnesses more persuasive
Oh, I did not watch
than
that
the
one.
testimony of a larger number. The principles I have outlined regarding judging the credibility of witnesses apply to all witnesses, whether they are ordinary civilians, police officers, or otherwise. In short, you should consider the testimony of each witness and give it the weight you think it deserves. You can accept all of what a witness says, you can reject all of what a witness says, or you can accept some of it and reject some of it. It is up to you. Now, I've addressed what you should not consider and what you should consider in reaching a verdict. I am now going to discuss how convinced one way or the other you must be, and this is referred to as the burden of proof. Under both our state and federal constitutions, all defendants in criminal cases are presumed to be innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The burden of proving guilt rests entirely on the state. The defendant does not have to prove his innocence. The defendant enters this courtroom as an innocent man, and you must consider him to be an innocent man until the state convinces you beyond a reasonable doubt that he is guilty. If, after all the evidence and arguments, you have a reasonable doubt as to whether the defendant committed any one or more elements of the offense, then you must find him not guilty. Ladies and gentlemen, a reasonable doubt is just what the words would ordinarily imply. The use of the word reasonable means simply that the doubt must be reasonable rather than unreasonable. It must be a doubt based on reason. It is not a frivolous or fanciful doubt, nor is it one that can easily be explained away. Rather, it is such a doubt based on reason as remains after consideration of all the evidence the state has offered against it. The test you must use is this. If you have a reasonable doubt as to whether the state has proven any one or more of the elements of the crime charged, you must find the defendant not guilty. However, if you find the state has proven all of the elements of the offense charged beyond a reasonable doubt, you should find the defendant guilty. During the course of the trial, you can get to know your fellow jurors, but you are not allowed to talk about the case or the evidence until you begin deliberating. It is quite natural to want to talk to your fellow jurors about the case as it unfolds, but it is really important that you not do that. If you have those conversations during the trial, it tends to cause you to form opinions about what you think the outcome ought to be before you have heard all of the evidence. Cases are presented in a certain order. The state has the burden of proof, so it will present evidence first. Because the defendant is presumed innocent, he has no obligation to present any evidence, but he has a right to do so if he wants to. So you may not hear evidence from the defense until later in the case. If the defendant chooses to exercise his absolute constitutional right not to testify or present any evidence, you cannot hold that against him or draw any negative inferences based on this. Even if the defendant chooses not to present evidence, the importance of certain pieces of evidence may not become apparent until the lawyers make their closing arguments. You will have plenty of time to discuss the evidence and testimony with your fellow jurors when you retire to deliberate. After all of the evidence has been submitted and both sides have presented their closing arguments, I will give you further instructions about the law that applies to this case, including definitions of the crimes charged and other issues that might arise during the course of the trial. If at any point, if any of you cannot see or hear any witness or any of the attorneys while they have the floor, please raise your hand and we will address it. Thank you. The other thing I would like to say at this time is we typically will take a mid-morning break, we'll take a lunch break, and we'll take a mid-afternoon break. I try to time those breaks based upon the overall flow of the trial and based upon the presentation of witness testimony. I try to do my best to make sure that we don't go too long, so we'll do that as we go through the evidence. Okay? All right, ready to proceed?
Look at that. I'm so good at timing things. So good. The skip intro button. Hey, that's my MASH job. Netflix skip intro. Professional tester. All right. This could have been an email. I know. It's boring for us, but that's probably the first time those people have ever heard that. Oh, look at this guy. Okay.
This is Caitlyn Naffziger. You can see her here
It's close.
with her daughter, Ellen. In this photo, you can see her as she was in life, holding one of her children close.
No.
She's dead now. She's dead because the defendant, Dustin Duren, the father of her children, murdered her.
Turn this up a little bit.
As Caitlyn sat on the couch, holding her 4-year-old daughter, Ellen, on her lap, very much like you see there, the defendant ripped Ellen from Caitlyn's arms. He stepped back, pointed his 9mm Beretta semi-automatic pistol at Caitlyn's head, and pulled the trigger. The defendant was still holding Ellen in his arms when he murdered her mother.
What?
The sound of the gunshot hurt Ellen's ears. After the defendant killed Caitlyn, he took Ellen and her 1-year-old sister, Valen. He packed their things, put them in his car, and began driving. He got
Hi,
all the way to
Sammy.
Concord, where he called his parents, and he confessed. He told them that he had killed Caitlyn. He said he was going dark, and he shut off his phone, making it impossible for the authorities to track his location. The defendant's father called the Berlin police. The police went to the defendant's apartment and found Caitlyn there, dead. A few hours later, in the early morning hours of March 1st, 2024, an Amber Alert went out, including descriptions of the defendant, the girls, and the defendant's car. It was that Amber Alert that led to the defendant's arrest, after a citizen told the Keene police that she saw the defendant's car heading in the direction of an Applebee's in Keene. The police found the defendant in his car in the parking lot of Applebee's. Elowen and Valen were in the back seat. The murder weapon, that 9mm Beretta semi-automatic pistol, was in the driver's side door. After his arrest, the defendant gave an interview with the New Hampshire State Police. He told them his version of the story, his version of what happened between him and Caitlyn. He told the police that he wanted Caitlyn to leave his apartment, and when she wouldn't, he got angry. He tried to take Ellen from Caitlyn, but she refused, and he got angry. So he went to his desk, grabbed his gun, and used it to kill the mother of his children.
This is not sounding great.
You can see the words very deliberate up there on the screen. Those are his words, the defendant's words. Those are the words that he used to describe his killing of Caitlyn Naffziger when he spoke to the police. Ladies and gentlemen of this jury, this will not be a case that is difficult to understand. This will not be a whodunit.
Oh, here.
There will be no mystery. The
Try to
evidence
boost
will
it.
prove to you, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Dustin Duren murdered Caitlyn Naffziger. The evidence will also show you
Is that better?
who did it. This is a case about anger and control. According to the defendant, He and Caitlyn had argued over the course of the day. He wanted her to leave and go back to Minnesota, where she was from. And when Caitlyn refused to do what he wanted, when he couldn't control her actions, he got angry. So he took his gun, pointed it at Caitlyn, and pulled the trigger. It was, as he said, a very deliberate act. During this trial, the state will provide you with evidence that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that Dustin Duren is guilty of the murder of Caitlyn Naffziger, as well as the crimes of reckless conduct with a deadly weapon and endangerment of a child. You will be given that evidence in the form of witness testimony, photographs, videos, and physical evidence. And right now, we're going to talk about some of that evidence. Caitlyn Naffziger and Dustin Duren were both from Minnesota. Together, they had two daughters, Elowen and Valen. In February of 2024, Elowen was 4 years old, and Valen was 1.
Those are
Caitlyn and the defendant
unique names. I like those.
Relationship. It was rocky. By January of 2024, things were not in a good place.
Hi, 80s.
That month, the defendant moved from Minnesota to New Hampshire. He brought Elowen with him. Caitlyn and Valen remained in Minnesota. The defendant drove from Minnesota with Elowen, and on January 23rd, he moved into an apartment in Berlin. That apartment was at 1063 Main Street. You can see 1063 Main Street here.
Okay.
It's a multi-family home in Berlin. The defendant's apartment was on the ground floor. After the defendant and Elowen arrived in New Hampshire, the defendant and Caitlyn argued over the phone and through text messages. They argued about the children and their future.
Did he just take the older one with him and move? That's
February 27th, Caitlyn and Valen flew to Boston. They took a bus from the airport to New Hampshire, where they met family, and they spent the night with that family on the seacoast. The next day was the 28th. That day, Caitlyn and Valen got a ride and were dropped off at a restaurant in Ossipee. There, they met the defendant and Elowen. After having lunch, the defendant drove them all in his car back to Berlin. They spent the night at 1063 Main Street, that apartment that you saw. The defendant believed that after this visit, Caitlyn was going to return home to Minnesota without either of the girls. That was what he wanted.
oof.
The next day, February 29th, according to the defendant, he asked Caitlyn repeatedly when her aunt...
I turned it up on my side. Is it not
He
loud?
asked her every 15 minutes because he wanted her to leave. He didn't want her there. Caitlyn ignored him. After repeated questions from the defendant about when she was going to leave, Caitlyn told him, "I'm not leaving, I'm staying." During the course of that day, according to the defendant, Caitlyn threatened to call the police and have the children taken away from him. This continued throughout the day. That evening, after a day of asking Caitlyn when she would leave, and a day of Caitlyn not doing what he wanted her to do, the defendant got angry. He was so angry that he started packing up Caitlyn's things so that he could drive her to the seacoast, do it himself. His plan was to load Caitlyn, her things, and both girls into the car, drive Caitlyn to her family and drop her off, and then return back to Berlin with both of the girls. The defendant put the younger daughter, Valen, in her car seat. Caitlyn remained sitting on the couch, holding Elowen in her arms. Similar to that photo. Caitlyn did not want to leave. The defendant tried to grab Elowen from Caitlyn, but Caitlyn would not let go. she continued to hold Elowen. She didn't want to leave. This made the defendant even angrier. Angry that
Yay,
Caitlyn
Sammy.
refused to leave his apartment, and angry that she refused to let go of her daughter Elowen, the defendant had had enough.
Hmm.
In his mind, the line had been crossed. Those are his words. Those are the words he told the police, and he described to them why he killed Caitlyn and what was going through his head. By refusing to allow him to take her child from her arms, Caitlyn had crossed the line.
Yikes.
This is a diagram of the defendant's apartment at 1063 Main Street. If you look at the living room, you can see that there is a couch, a coffee table in front of it, and then a desk on the other side of the room. Those black bars that you see represent the doorways in the apartment. And you can see the back door is down a hallway on the left side. Caitlyn was sitting on the couch in front of the coffee table with Elowen on her lap. According to the defendant, after he tried and failed to take Elowen from Caitlyn as she sat on the couch, he crossed the room and went to his desk. From his desk, he grabbed this, his Beretta 9mm semi-automatic pistol. That gun had a loaded magazine in it, but no bullet in the chamber. According to the defendant, after he grabbed the gun, he racked it on the slide back, putting a bullet in the chamber. The gun was now ready to fire. The defendant walked back across the room from his desk, around the coffee table, and stood in front of Caitlyn to her left. He grabbed Elowen and ripped her from her mother's arms with his left arm. He was holding that pistol in his right. After grabbing Elowen, holding her in his left arm, he stepped back and pointed his gun at Caitlyn's head.
Oh my God.
At this point, Caitlyn was sitting on the couch alone. She was unarmed. The defendant stood between Caitlyn and the exit. Elowen in one arm, gun in the other. At that time, Caitlyn did not have a car. She did not have a bus ticket, and her family was hours away. As Caitlyn sat on that couch, holding Elowen in his arm, after stepping back, the defendant pulled the trigger. He did not miss. He
Does she
fired
have rights
one
to these
bullet.
kids?
That bullet entered Caitlyn's skull from the left side of her head. It traveled through her brain and exited the right side. The gunshot was loud. According to the defendant, Elowen immediately started grabbing her ear and complaining of the noise. The defendant went to the garage and put her in the car. This is what the defendant told the detectives later about what he was thinking at that moment after shooting Caitlyn in the head. He told them that he knew, in his words, that he was screwed. He understood what had happened, and he understood the consequences.
Wow.
He went back in the house. He got Valen, who was still in her car seat. He grabbed clothes for himself and for the girls. He grabbed food and water. He grabbed pillows and blankets. He put all of these things into his car. He grabbed his desktop computer. You can see it there in the defendant's truck. After packing up those supplies with both girls in the car, the defendant started to drive. The defendant left his apartment in Berlin sometime between 5:38 p.m. and 6 p.m. on February 29th. He drove to Concord arriving a little bit before 9 p.m.
Concord.
In Concord, the defendant sent a video of the girls to his mother, and then he called his parents. At 10:08 p.m. in Concord, he called them and told them what he had done. He said, "I killed Caitlyn." He said, "You should probably call the police." He also said, "I'm going to go dark, and I'm turning off my phone." He said he would turn himself in, but he wanted some time with the girls before he did it.
Oh my
About
goodness.
10:22 p.m., the defendant did turn off his phone. According to him, he drove west into New York State. At some point, he stopped, and he and the girls slept in the car in the back seat. According to the defendant, when he woke up the next morning, he decided to turn himself in. So he started driving back to New Hampshire. As the defendant drove through Keene the morning of March 1st, he decided to have breakfast somewhere with his girls. While driving, he was seen and he was placed under arrest. The murder weapon, that 9mm Beretta semi-automatic pistol, was in the door, still loaded.
Is there one of those like piano tempo things
The evidence in this
in the
case
background?
will prove to you, beyond a reasonable doubt, that the defendant is guilty of knowing second-degree murder and the alternative charge of reckless second-degree murder for killing Caitlyn Naffziger. It will also prove that he committed the crimes of reckless conduct with a deadly weapon and endangerment of a child.
Yes, Dave. Thank you.
The
You guys
evidence
hear
will
it?
prove to you that the defendant was not provoked when he pulled that trigger, and that the killing of Caitlyn Naffziger was not justified.
See,
When
you're
asked
crazy.
by a detective if Caitlyn had threatened to harm anyone, he said no. When asked by a detective if he knew he was endangering Elowen by firing a gun so close to her, he said yes. The evidence will prove to you that the defendant caused Caitlyn's death merely because he was angry and nothing more. You will hear testimony during this trial from state troopers and police officers who will describe how they investigated this case and how they gathered important pieces of evidence.
That's
You will
really
hear from
crazy.
the medical examiner who conducted an autopsy of Caitlyn's body. An intelligence analyst with the New Hampshire State Police will describe for you how she used cell phone location data to map the defendant's movements before he turned his phone off. You will hear testimony from an expert firearms examiner who will tell you that the gun that fired the bullet that killed Caitlyn was the defendant's. And
I don't like
you will hear what the defendant told the police when they interviewed him and when he
You guys
confessed.
want to go outside? Okay.
His version of the story. After his arrest, the defendant spoke with the state police at length. That interview was audio and video recorded. You will be able to see it for yourselves. You will be able to see the defendant's body language, his demeanor, and his tone of voice. You will see that the defendant was calm and in control when he described killing Caitlyn Naffziger. I've already shown you a few of the things that he said during that interview. You will see those and more presented during this trial. Those statements are just some of the evidence that will prove the defendant is guilty. Caitlyn is dead. She is dead because the defendant became angry when she refused to leave his apartment. And she is dead because she would not stop holding her 4-year-old daughter. And that made the defendant mad. So he grabbed his gun, took Caitlyn's daughter away from her and shot her in the head. After you've heard all the evidence in this case, it will be up to you, the jury, to deliberate and deliver a verdict. When that time comes, when you have had all of the evidence placed in front of you, you will know beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty. You will know that the defendant murdered Caitlyn Naffziger. Just like the defendant knew from the moment that he fired his gun, you will know that he's guilty.
Certainly.
Oh my God, what is happening? Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. We're gonna mute that real quick. Holy crap, that was awful. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Love that for us. Love that for us so much. I'm so sorry, guys. You can blame the dogs. They wanted to go outside. You know how they be. Whew, that's fun. I'm so sorry. I hope that wasn't going on too long. It is aggressive, Tracy. It is very aggressive. I do always leave at the worst times. Okay. There we go. Sorry, guys. Yes. It's true. We love Savage.
This
He's the best.
case is about broken promises, secret plans, and a father's unyielding love. It's about a Marine reacting to a threat toward his beloved daughter. A horrific tragedy, but not a criminal offense. Dustin Duren is not guilty. Dustin, a Marine veteran, responded to a threat when he shot Caitlyn one time. He saw his daughter being held hostage in front of him. He believed his daughter was in danger of being hurt, in danger of being a pawn in a custody dispute, in danger of being taken away from him, in danger of being kidnapped. The law allows for deadly force to be used against another in certain circumstances. The law says Dustin's actions were justified. He's not guilty of murder. He is not guilty of reckless conduct. He is not guilty of endangering the welfare of a child. You will hear that Caitlyn agreed with a plan to let Dustin take their daughter Ellen to Berlin, New Hampshire from Minnesota, and that she would follow later with their younger daughter Valen. You will hear that she later changed her mind, but did not tell Dustin. Instead, she flew to Boston with their 1-year-old Valen, and then planned with her aunt to take Elwyn and Valen from their father in the middle of the night while he was sleeping.
Yeah, they're both daughters or their
To
daughters.
carry out the secret plan, Caitlyn and Valen went to Berlin, stayed the night at Dustin's, and then ignored Dustin's requests for her to leave. Dustin decided he would need to bring Caitlyn back to the seacoast where her aunt lived. And when he tried to get the kids ready to leave, Caitlyn told Dustin no, she was not leaving. She demanded Dustin pay her more money. She threatened Dustin she was going to call the police and lie to them, accusing him of kidnapping Elwyn.
Is that death,
She
though?
told Dustin she was taking the kids back to Minnesota and he would never see them again. While making these threats, Caitlyn remained seated on the couch, holding on to Elwyn. She would not let go of Elwyn when Dustin tried to free her. She gripped Elwyn. She tugged Elwyn. She bear hugged Elwyn. Elwyn was being held hostage right in front of Dustin. Dustin did not want to hurt Elwyn. She was crying. He was worried she was being hurt. On the third attempt to free Elwyn from Caitlyn's grip, Elwyn let out a shriek. This was a startling and terrifying reaction that caused something in Dustin to tick. In his fear for Elwyn and his need to protect her, he walked a couple feet over to his desk, got his gun, chambered around, pulled Elwyn to safety, and fired one round into Caitlyn's head. Dustin Duren defended his daughter. He is not guilty.
I don't know about that, man, but okay.
You will hear
I don't know.
that evidence through the state's case and through the defense's case. But now I want to talk to you about Dustin. Dustin is a father and he is a Marine. These two things shape his identity and his decision making. Dustin enlisted with the Marines when he was 18 years old. He received extensive training in firearms. He was drilled with firearms, expected to be able to assemble, load, aim, and shoot a firearm quickly, automatically, without conscious thought. Use of a firearm became automatic and instinctual to him, something that he could do quickly, accurately, and without forethought. He was trained to use a firearm to respond to threats. You will hear that Dustin was the most proficient shooter in boot camp and the squadron high shooter during annual marksmanship training. He became a certified marksmanship coach and taught hundreds of Marines how to perfect their shooting. You will also hear that Dustin had been diagnosed with service-connected PTSD and has suffered bouts of depression in the past. Before meeting Caitlyn in 2019, Dustin felt like his life was meaningless. He had no real purpose, no real reason to
Me
live.
too, Pam.
But shortly after beginning a relationship with Caitlyn, she became pregnant with their first child. Dustin's mental health began to improve. He was beginning to believe he had a purpose, having a family. He and Caitlyn lived together at his parents' home. Soon after Elwyn was born, they moved to Las Vegas and lived there together. Dustin was Elwyn's primary caretaker. He and Elwyn were bonded. At her very first Christmas, Caitlyn flew home to Minnesota, leaving Dustin and their 1-year-old Elwyn behind.
It's not helpful.
Hear that Dustin's memory of that Christmas burns bright to this day. Dustin was feeling awful about the meager Christmas he could only provide for his daughter, but her pure joy that day shifted his whole mindset. He saw her big smile and her joy, and it was a pivotal moment in his life. He thought, this is my purpose. This is my life. Elwyn.
Just the one
In
daughter?
that moment, it was like a whole world had changed. Dustin's view on everything had changed. His entire life turned to Elwyn. The two were bonded. Eventually, Caitlyn became pregnant with their second child, Valen. She was born in Las Vegas in January of 2023. By July of 2023, Dustin and Caitlyn separated, and all four returned to Minnesota. Dustin moved back in with his parents. Caitlyn moved in with a friend. For several months, they tried co-parenting. After a few months of this arrangement, Dustin and Caitlyn came to a compromise in which they would both move to New Hampshire but live separately. They decided that Dustin would travel by car to New Hampshire first, taking Ellen with him, and then Caitlyn would fly out later with 1-year-old Valen and leave her with Dustin. Caitlyn would then return to Minnesota for a few months to work and save some money, and then move to New Hampshire permanently in the early summer when she would have seasonal employment with her Aunt Brenda in Hampton. Dustin prepared for the trip to New Hampshire. He found an apartment in Berlin and showed Caitlyn photos of the apartment. Caitlyn gave Dustin a bunch of Elwyn and Valen's stuff to take with him. The day Dustin left, he picked Elwyn up from where Caitlyn lived, at her friend's house, and Caitlyn willingly handed over Elwyn. Caitlyn did not call the police. She did not report a kidnapping. She agreed to this plan.
But does he have any
On their
legal rights to
trip
this
east,
kid, though?
Dustin called and texted Caitlyn several times with updates. He sent pictures of Elwyn. After Dustin got to New Hampshire, he and Caitlyn had several arguments over the phone about money. Caitlyn wanted to claim both girls on their taxes and wanted Dustin to send her money. Caitlyn threatened to call the police and falsely claim that Dustin had kidnapped Elwyn and had taken her to New Hampshire without Caitlyn's permission. Dustin was worried that Caitlyn wouldn't bring Valen and that the girls would be separated. You will hear that when Caitlyn made this threat a few weeks before this incident, Dustin was alarmed. He called Caitlyn's mother. He called Caitlyn's father. He called the Berlin Police Department. He offered to let Caitlyn claim both girls on their taxes, paid for her plane ticket to New Hampshire, and sent her some money. 2 weeks later, Caitlyn and Valen did fly to Boston, as planned, on the 27th of February. Dustin knew when they would arrive in Boston, but no other details, because Caitlyn did not share those. He did not know how Caitlyn and Valen were getting to Berlin or when. He did not know if Caitlyn planned on staying in Berlin or where she would stay. He assumed she wanted to stay a couple days in Berlin to visit with Elwyn and offered for her to stay with him and the girls, but Caitlyn declined this invitation. Caitlyn had other plans, secret plans she did not share with Dustin. You will hear about the plan that Caitlyn created with her Aunt Brenda. Brenda will tell you that she lives in Hampton. She spoke to Caitlyn about her visit to New Hampshire. She will tell you that Caitlyn and Valen flew into Boston and shuttled to Seabrook, where Brenda and her friend picked them up. Brenda will tell you that Caitlyn and Valen spent the night in Hampton, and while there, Brenda and Caitlyn came up with a plan to take the kids from Dustin.
Objection. Reapproach.
And I was muted. See, court, you can mute things. You don't have to play loud noises like that. Oh, there is sidebar. Listen, this is not looking good for this dude. My first concern is what legal rights he had to the kids to begin with, because it sounds to me like they were never married, which not every state has an unwed mother law. I don't know what Minnesota's is, but like Ohio has one where if you're never married, the father has to go to court to establish paternity and then get legal like custody. Like if that's what happens, like if you're an unwed mother, you have 100% custody no matter what until a father takes you to court to establish his paternity and rights for for custody and whatnot. So they have yet to say, sure, they worked out a plan verbally, but that doesn't mean anything, So, I mean, don't get me wrong. Custody stuff is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Shit like this happens all the time between parents, unfortunately. But boy, does this defense have some hoops they need to jump through, because this is not great. Exactly what Daria says. The courts don't usually let one parent move out of state with the kids. No, it doesn't. So far, I haven't heard that the court's been involved in their, she said, oh, well, they agreed to co-parenting. Okay, like legally or what? But also, even what they described of, oh, she wanted to, so he just decides to shoot her. Like, that doesn't, I have not heard any self-defense at this point. Because listen, if she had custody of the kids and she took them, she was not legally in the wrong. And also with self-defense, you gotta perceive that your life is in danger. Didn't sound to me like he thought his life was in danger. She had no weapon or nothing. So, oh, this is going to be a spicy one, you guys. Oh, that Aunt Brenda. Can't wait to hear more about her. All right. Weird.
While Caitlyn was visiting with her Aunt Brenda the night before she met Dustin, Brenda and Caitlyn came up with a plan to take the kids from Dustin.
It's weird.
Brenda will tell you that she agreed to bring Caitlyn and Valen to meet up with Dustin and Elowen, drop them off,
I think
and
he
wait
was
a day or
holding
two for Caitlyn to call her
shot
for
her.
a ride back with both of the girls. Caitlyn would sneak the two kids out while Dustin was sleeping, and Brenda would pick them up and take Caitlyn and her kids to the airport to fly back to Minnesota. Caitlyn already had a return ticket to Minnesota, and Brenda was going to buy a ticket for Elowen. And Valen was young enough that she could sit on her mom's lap. You will hear that when Caitlyn texted Dustin that Brenda was driving her up, Dustin suggested they meet up at a spot halfway between Hampton and Berlin. And he found a restaurant in Ossipee. Dustin believed that Caitlyn and Brenda would have a meal with him and the girls.
But then he took
and then
her
Caitlyn and Brenda
and was
would
holding
return
her.
to Hampton, while Dustin and the girls would head north to Berlin. The next day, Dustin and Elowen drove to Ossipee and got to the restaurant first, where they waited inside the restaurant, waiting for Caitlyn and Valen. When Caitlyn arrived, she called Dustin, asking him to come outside and help with Valen's things. Dustin and Elowen went outside to meet Caitlyn and Valen. Brenda was already gone. They put Valen's stuff in the car, and the four of them, Elowen, Valen, Dustin, and Caitlyn, went into the restaurant to eat. Dustin and Caitlyn did not have any real conversation. Dustin visited with Valen, Caitlyn with Elowen. Caitlyn started asking Elowen if she could come see Elowen's new house. Dustin was confused, since Caitlyn had said she did not want to stay with them. Caitlyn did not speak directly with Dustin, instead saying things to Elowen for Dustin to overhear. Dustin agreed that Caitlyn could spend a night. And so after dinner, all four of them got into Dustin's car, drove back to Berlin. Caitlyn sat in the back seat with the girls. That night, Dustin slept in his bed with Valen, and Caitlyn and Elowen slept on an air mattress between the bedroom and the living room. The next day, they all went to the Berlin Library for children's story time and arts and crafts. They came home and had lunch. Caitlyn spent the afternoon playing with the girls and not speaking to Dustin. Dustin tried to ask Caitlyn what her plan was when she was leaving, but Caitlyn would not answer him. Dustin continued to ask, and Caitlyn continued to ignore her all afternoon. Caitlyn played with Elowen and Valen in Ellen's bedroom, and every so often, Dustin would go to the doorway of the room and ask Caitlyn when and how she was leaving. Caitlyn did not respond. At one point, she picked up her phone and started using it. Dustin didn't know if Caitlyn was messaging someone. Her silence was telling. Dustin was suspicious. Caitlyn's behavior concerned him. Something was off.
Did you call the cops? No.
Eventually, once it started to get dark, Dustin told Caitlyn that since she wasn't responding, he was going to drive her all the way back to Hampton. And he told Caitlyn it was time to leave. Dustin was stressed because it was a long drive, and by the time he dropped Caitlyn off in Hampton and then drove all the way back to Berlin with the girls would have been up all night. Caitlyn sat down on the couch. Dustin put Valen in a car seat and sat on the hallway floor. He went back into the living room and saw Caitlyn go over and pick up Elowen, return to the couch, and set Elowen on her lap.
Oh, horror.
Elowen straddled Caitlyn's knee. Dustin told Caitlyn, "Come on, we're leaving," and tried to take Elowen to get her ready to go. Caitlyn tugged Elowen tightly and pulled her back, wrapping her arms around Dustin's daughter in a bear hug.
Her daughter too, ma'am.
Dustin let go and asked Caitlyn to let go of Elowen, and Caitlyn said no. Dustin kept asking Caitlyn to let go of Elowen and get ready to leave. Caitlyn started demanding Dustin pay child support, give her $2,000 per month. Caitlyn told Dustin she was going to take Elowen and Valen back to Minnesota and Dustin would never see them again. Caitlyn again threatened Dustin that she would call the cops and tell them Dustin had taken Elowen without permission. Caitlyn was still holding on to Elowen, her arms wrapped tightly around Elowen, restraining her. Caitlyn told Dustin again that he would never see his kids.
True.
Dustin felt like Caitlyn was holding Elowen hostage. He was seeing his daughter held hostage in front of his eyes. He kept begging Caitlyn to let go of Elowen and to just get ready to leave. Caitlyn refused and kept saying she was taking the kids and he would never see them again. At this point, Valen was crying. Elowen was upset and crying. The situation was overwhelming. Dustin tried again to free Elowen, but Caitlyn yanked her away again. Dustin didn't want to force anything, so he just let Elowen go. He tried again to persuade Caitlyn to let go of Elowen, and she refused. She continued to threaten Dustin. Dustin didn't know who Caitlyn had been messaging on her phone, whether there was someone outside waiting. He was suspicious. He was concerned. He was fearful.
Sorry, but bullshit.
Dustin could see his gun on the desk in the living room in close proximity to Caitlyn. Dustin knew that Caitlyn knew how to use the gun. He himself taught her how to handle and shoot a gun. He couldn't take his eyes off Caitlyn and Elowen while Caitlyn was holding Elowen hostage right next to a firearm. Dustin tried one more time to take Elowen. He tried to hold one of Caitlyn's wrists while wrapping his arm behind Elowen so that he could free Elowen from Caitlyn's bear hug. Caitlyn did not let go and instead got more aggressive. She braced her foot against the living room table and pulled back hard. Elowen screamed, a piercing cry like she was in pain. Immediately, everything felt extremely dire to Dustin, like Elowen was in immediate danger. Hearing Elowen scream was like a tick. The only thing he was thinking was that he had to save Elowen. In an autonomous motion, like he had been trained by the military, he grabbed his gun. He had no thoughts in his head other than he needed to save Elowen. He acted instinctually, automatically, and reflexively. In less than 3 seconds, he grabbed the gun, pulled Elowen out of the way, and eliminated the threat, shooting Caitlyn in the head.
Eliminated the threat.
Elowen was safe in Dustin's arms.
Yikes.
He is a Marine. He acts like a Marine.
Is he
did
though?
what a Marine is trained to do. Dustin saved Elowen. Dustin took the girls and left the apartment in his Subaru. He needed to make sure the girls were okay and to get out of that apartment. He didn't want Elowen to see anything. After driving south for about 2 hours, he stopped for gas in Concord. He called his mom and told her he shot Caitlyn. He asked for his dad to call the police. He also sent them a video of the girls in the car at that moment to show them the girls were safe. He said he was going to spend a few more hours with the girls before he turned himself in. And that's what he did. He spent a few more hours driving with, talking with the girls, making sure they were okay, making sure they knew he loved them before turning around and driving back to New Hampshire.
After
He
killing them
planned to get
right.
breakfast with the girls before
What
he
a great
turned
guy.
himself in, but the police located him before he was able to do so. And you will see Dustin's arrest on video. You will see how he complied with the police
You're good.
commands, how he warned the police there were kids in the car, how he warned them there was a gun in the driver's side door, and he then gave a lengthy interview to the police. The state will probably show you Dustin's interview and what he told them after his arrest. This is a case about broken promises, secret plans, and a father's unyielding love. It's about a Marine reacting to a threat toward his beloved daughter, a horrific tragedy, but not a criminal offense. Dustin is not guilty. At the end of the evidence, the judge will instruct you on the law, and he may explain to you that what the law allows when defending others. He may instruct you that a person is justified in using deadly force against another when he reasonably believes that such person is committing or about to commit a kidnapping, is likely to use any unlawful force against a person present while committing or attempting to commit a burglary,
Allegedly.
or is likely to use any unlawful force in the commission of a felony against the actor within his own dwelling or home. When he shot Caitlyn, Dustin reasonably believed that Caitlyn was about to kidnap Elwyn and that Caitlyn was using unlawful force to commit a crime. She was holding Elwyn hostage in front of him, threatening that she would take his kids to Minnesota and he would never see them again. Caitlyn would rather hurt Elwyn than let her go. And when Caitlyn hurt Elwyn, Dustin acted to save her. Dustin's entire life purpose was to be a good father for Elwyn and Balin, and he did what he believed was necessary to protect Elwyn. The judge may instruct you. You cannot convict Dustin unless the state proves to you not only that Dustin killed Caitlyn, but that he did so without justification. You must find Dustin not guilty unless you are convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that Dustin did not act to defend his daughter and prevent a kidnapping. The state will not meet its burden.
Even then.
Dustin was justified under the law. He acted to protect his daughter. After hearing all the evidence, we are confident you will find him not guilty.
Well, girl, you got work to do, babes, because yikes. All right,
Okay, thank you.
there we go. We heard
All
it,
right,
y'all.
Members of the jury, as I said, we typically take a mid-morning break and a lunch break and a mid-afternoon break before we start with the first witness. I think it's appropriate right now to take a mid-morning break. I'm going to instruct you on several matters right now before we take our first break. First of all, as you heard me say before, you are not allowed to discuss any aspect of the case or any aspect of the evidence amongst yourselves until we get to the conclusion of the trial, until we finally get to deliberations. So it's extremely important that you not do that, and I instruct you not to do that. Further, I instruct you that if you do hear of anybody among your jurors, that if you overhear two jurors talking about the case, I instruct you to please tell one of the court security officers about that. That's something very important that you not do. Talk about it. So if one of you does hear two others talking about it, that needs to be informed to a bailiff as well. And as you can see, there is some members of the media here. As I said to you last time during jury selection, I'm advising you to pay no attention to any news reports whatsoever with respect to any aspect of the trial. And I also, because of modern social media, I'm further instructing you not to communicate with anyone about anything that's happening during the course of the trial. You'll hear me make these instructions to you many times over the course of the trial, but it's my duty just to do so. I have no doubt that you will follow my instructions. So again, please do not discuss the case, and we'll get started in about 10 or 15 minutes. It's 10:33, so we'll try to get started right at by 10:50. And so with that, we'll take our first break. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I don't know if they're going to play that annoying music, so we will just take a little break as well, because I think we have a lot to talk about. Wow. Those were some opening statements, I suppose. I have lots of questions as well, and things that I'm going to need to see as evidence. Oh boy, it's not looking good for this guy at all. Certainly is not. And Daria, I have the same question as you. Why was the weapon out on the desk in the first place? It seemed like it was not secure. I'm just saying, I feel like he would know better. Also, you have, what, a 4-year-old, I think she was, the oldest daughter, Elwyn. I don't want to say their names wrong. Whatever. We don't need to say their names anyway. It's probably best that we don't, because they're so young and minors. But, like, what? I do not. Right, Savage, a trained Marine that could not rescue his daughter from her mom on a couch short of gunplay. Not a good look. Not a good look at all. I'm going to need a few things. One, I'm going to need to know if he even legally had custody in any way, shape, or form of these girls. If he didn't, then it's not kidnapping. That's not how that works. Also, how could she have been kidnapping the children when he was her only ride? So I don't really like when they're using that word, because it doesn't seem like what was going on here. And guess what? Even if you are found charged and convicted of kidnapping, you know what's not on the table? The death penalty. I don't think you can just shoot somebody over a kidnapping. I don't know if that qualifies as self-defense. It may, but to me, I don't know about that. Right? So I can't wait to hear what you all think about Elwyn. Thank you. Elwyn. Like Caitlyn. Oh, I see. And then the other one's Valen, I think. Very interesting names. Daria says he should know better than to keep an unsecured weapon in the open. I mean, I just don't understand. And his defense attorney said something too, which is not helpful. And that was, he didn't think about it. He didn't register what was going on. He basically like blinked out and shot and killed the mother of his kids. And yet you want to be like, yeah, no, he totally should be with his daughters all the time. What? That doesn't make any sense. That does not sound like he's the safest person for his daughters to be with. If he just, that's his automatic response. And he didn't call the cops. Why did he not call the cops? Probably because he didn't have rights to the kid. So it doesn't matter. Because the cops would probably be like, yeah, sorry, there's no legal. I mean, we don't know that yet. They have not established that. This is just pure speculation, because we haven't gotten any evidence yet. As the lovely Amos pointed out, these are opening statements. They're not evidence. They're just to let you know what we're probably going to see throughout the trial. And this guy is definitely going to have to take the stand. Oh boy. Ooh, yikes. Maybe. I don't know. Depends on the circumstances. I mean, sure. Yes. So are they putting things on the record right now? No, I don't think so. No, they're just talking. They're just... Did you guys hear the metronome now? Listen. It's going to drive me crazy. Right. Well, he didn't know who she was texting, so, he took it as a threat. It's none of his damn business who she was texting. And because you had no idea who she was texting, you just assumed the worst and then killed her. Like, that doesn't make any rational sense to me because you apparently didn't know. I don't know. We'll see. It might be the clock. I don't know, but it's annoying and stupid. I hate it. Oh, goodness. Um, ooh, boy. So for those of you that might have missed coming in later, so what happened is that Dustin and Caitlyn were together. They're both from Minnesota. They have 2 daughters. And he says they were not together. He was living, I forget where he was living. I think he was living with family, and Caitlyn was living with a friend. And apparently, she said they all decided they were going to move to New Hampshire. All right. But Dustin was going to move there first. So he took the oldest daughter with him, says that the mother was fine with that, which I don't know. We'll see. And she ends up going out there with the other daughter, and they're at his apartment. First, she stayed the night with family. They're at his apartment. She stayed the night there with both the girls, and he was getting ready to take her back to her Aunt Brenda. Can't wait to meet Aunt Brenda. And Caitlyn is holding Yulin and not wanting to let her go, which, hello, as a mom myself, out of my cold dead hands, would you take my kid? All I'm saying. But so then Dustin goes to his desk, grabs his gun. Now, mind you, Dustin is her ride. All right. She doesn't have a car. Um, he's they're all under the assumption that he's driving her back to her aunt's, right? And so he rips Yulin out of Caitlyn's arms. And while holding Yulin, shoots Caitlyn right in the head. One shot. Because he says she was trying to kidnap his daughters. Now, we don't know the custody situation of who has rights to the girls or whatnot. It seems like they were never married, so I'm not sure. But, oof. And he's claiming self-defense. And it's going to be quite the mountain to climb in this scenario, because already I'm just like, I don't know how. I mean, you didn't try to call the cops. You didn't try to do anything. Your first instinct is to, and that's the thing too. It's not like he just had the gun on him. He had to walk to his desk in another room. From my understanding, I think it was another room. Don't quote me on that, because as we all know, things were a little hard to hear, but I'm pretty sure the desk was in another room or out of the living room in some way. He grabs his gun from there and then comes back into the room. Like, oh, sir, it's not looking good. Not looking good for him. Anyway, good morning, Kelly. Good morning. I hope that's a good way to catch you up there. Daria says so many questions, but I guess that's the point of opening statements. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of things. I have a lot of questions too. So we'll see. Tracy says, what if the older daughter is his, but the younger one is not? That's why she was okay with him taking the older daughter. I mean, maybe they're both known to be his, though. I don't think it's a paternity situation between the two. I think they just are using the older one to be like, look how caring he is. But and plus maybe the baby, who was like, I think they said around 1, she was. I mean, maybe she was still like breastfeeding or something like that. I don't know. Could be though. Could be, Tracy. Could be. We got a lot of questions about the legality of his parenting rights here. So, oof. But like also, all right, so we also know that he's a former Marine. His defense says he has PTSD. We don't know that for a fact yet. All right. I'm not saying he does or doesn't because we don't know. They're going to need a doctor of some sort. They can't just tell us that. I mean, for some people that works, but for me, no. I need somebody who's analyzed you for that purpose, right? Because that's a pretty, I mean, I'm just going to need that. But this dude is a Marine, and he was that threatened by Caitlyn that it deemed shooting her. Really? Really? It doesn't seem like you've exhausted all other routes before shooting and killing somebody, but we'll see. Oh, look, it's Scott. Well, hello, Scott. Good to see you again. You're all the way in Australia, so we don't usually catch each other. Glad to see you here. I know you're a big replay crew person. Appreciate that. Happy to see you here while we're live. I want to see the text messages. I do too. And I'm a little miffed because it's seeming that we're not going to be seeing anything on the TV. Because for those of you just coming in, um, like from the gallery side, right? The witness stand is over in front of Dustin and his lawyers. So we'll see the witness stand. But the TV is over by the prosecution and blocks the jury. So there's a good chance we're not going to see stuff on the TV, which is annoying. And maybe they'll fix it. The first days of trial is always chaos and weird, and then they work it out better the next day. So fingers crossed. Oh. Savage says we need Dr. Shannon Muffins Curry to tell us in detail over multiple days. I don't think this is going to be a very long trial at all. I mean, we'll probably hear from quite a few law enforcement, but really, we already know it's not who done it. That's already been solved. It's whether or not it was justified. Which means you really only need to hear from that guy. Oh yeah, they cut the mic there. So that's good. Okay. So we'll see. It's like 1 a.m. over there, is it not? Yeah, I don't know if for Australia it's I think 12 hours or something like that. We need Dr. Muffins. I mean, I have one banana nut muffin left, so Tracy says, was the relocation to be with more family to help? I don't know. They didn't really, apparently they had family there. Well, we know Caitlyn did. I think they said Dustin did as well. I think so. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, well, guess what? It's 10:47 a.m. here in Ohio. So we are exactly 12 hours apart. Isn't that fascinating? I love that. Love that. But I'll tell you what. If they were like, we need a verdict right now, not looking good for you, Dustin. Not looking good at all. It didn't sound like there was a lot of de-escalation. Again, they're just opening statements. And earlier they had said exterminated the threat, which, yes, Lady in Gray, pointed out those are the words you got to use in a self-defense claim. All right. But to use that phrase, exterminate the threat, about a mother with her babies, like I know that's what they have to do, but there's no way that the jury didn't catch that and just be like, what? Yikes. Please type upside down so that Scott can read the chat. I love that. Look at Llama learning. I love it. I love learning. Oh boy. Well, this seems like it's definitely going to be an interesting trial. I know for me, it kind of seems pretty cut and dry. But we've definitely seen cases before where the prosecution couldn't quite deliver what they're promising. So we'll see. We'll see. It is gross. It can be gross. Sometimes they also don't let prosecution refer to them as a victim. I don't know if we heard victim in the openings or not. That's pretty standard. I know that pisses a lot of people off, but I mean, when it comes to self-defense, to call the other person a victim if they were a perpetrator, stuff like that sticks in people's minds. So I get it. I don't like it, but oh, Daria, babes, we are all about typos here. So your typos are welcome and appreciated. Hmm. We'll see. We'll see. They're not talking about anything of importance. Ooh, man. Oh, that's adorable. Oh boy. Okay. What are you guys thinking? What evidence do you guys need to see, like, to get to a verdict? I said mine of what I really need to see. What do you guys need on your checklist before a verdict? Because those are really important. Because just because they say you're going to see something does not mean you're going to see any of it. Oh, excuse me. Daria says, to me, self-defense is when someone is in imminent danger of harm. Kidnapping doesn't seem to fit that to me. Me either. And his lawyer did say that she, by, holding on to her, that she was harming Ewan. And I mean, really, are we going to consider that harm? I don't know. We don't know. We'll see. I mean, did the baby have? I mean, she's 4, but still baby, you know. Mm, just because you're hugging them tightly, even though, oh, well, he thought the little girl was harmed by the mom hugging her so much that he ripped the daughter with one hand and is holding the daughter because that's normal, and then shoots the mom. Really? Okay. Okay. All right. Lady in Gray says her checklist involves, is there a custody agreement, text messages, and PTSD diagnosis. Yeah, the last one too is very important as well. Ooh, Savage brings up a very good point, because you are correct, Savage. Savage says also claiming self-defense for a third party is another level of trickery. That is very true. Good point, Savage, because it is already, you can claim self-defense all you want, but there is a bar and there's certain things that have to be checked off. And normally, it's that you're in fear of your life, right? But they claim they were feared, that he feared that the girls were going to be kidnapped. So we'll see. We'll see. They were both pulling at the baby. Exactly. Like, and listen, it is not great to put a kid in that situation at all. But again, you are smart sometimes. But again, why didn't he call the police then? I don't know how, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the mental gymnastics there for that story, but we'll see. We'll see. Um, I think of all the trials that we've watched together, I have a very high bar when it comes to reasonable doubt. And if somebody, even when I thought and still think that the person was guilty, I thought they didn't get a fair trial. So I'm a very big proponent of that. So we'll see if they can prove it. But, oof, this guy, yikes. Savage, you amaze us with your brilliance every once in a while and dazzle you with BS for the rest of the time. I mean, who else is going to leave me amazing references on Discord? Speaking of, if you guys like hanging out with us, when we're not live, we're all over on our Discord server, The Courtyard. And we're pretty.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Oh my God.
Certainly. Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to approach on scheduling. Are we going to get white noise or are we going to hear about it? I got it. Well, this is going to be fun. That is awful. That is awful. But at least now we know when we're feeling sleepy and they get a sidebar, we will be awake like that. I'll do my very best to make sure that we don't have to do that so much. That is true, Lady and Craig. Government has to prove it to me before I vote to take someone's liberty. That is very true. Even if we know the person probably did it. So Angie says he better take the stand. There's no other witnesses since he killed her. He's got to talk. Absolutely. And especially if you're using self-defense for a third party, because the little girls, they can't say anything, or at least I wouldn't expect them at all to be. They're so young. They would never. I don't think so. We'll see, but I definitely think he's going to be taking the stand. I don't know if I've ever seen a self-defense case where they didn't take the stand. I mean, it's hard to even get a self-defense defense in court to begin with, so I don't know. Okay, they're walking away. Maybe the noise is gone. Okay. Can we know what the schedule?
Okay, before we reconvene the jury, just a few quick comments about the layout of the courtroom. For purposes of the record, I did not want to take the time to do that first thing this morning. I wanted to get started. But just to confirm, there is a large television monitor that is aimed at roughly a 45-degree angle towards the jury box, which has been provided by the state. There's also a smaller monitor which is directed towards the gallery. There's also a monitor on defense counsel table and also a monitor at the judge's bench up here. So a total of 4 monitors that have been outlaid around the courtroom. I've indicated to defense counsel that if at any point that their monitor ceases to work, to let me know immediately, and we will adjust as necessary with respect to that matter. And I will try to keep my eye out open for it, but in case anything does change, in case the layout does change during the course of the trial, please let me know, just so that I can adequately reflect for purposes of the record the layout of the courtroom. Any comments in response to my comments, counsel?
So there is one facing the gallery? Oh.
Certainly.
Oh, that stupid noise. Oh, drive me crazy. You're pretty sure they were watching Lost during the trial? Yeah, they should. The island's always calling. Well, now the video quality's kind of went to shit. There we go. Oh, somebody had said something. Oh, Daria says the only way he can avoid to take the stand is if there's recording of the fight, but that's not entirely true. I mean, yes, that could kind of help, but I don't know if you ever saw Kyle Rittenhouse's trial, which is a fascinating trial of self-defense. It really is very good. He took the stand, and there was tons of video for that case, including FBI drone, which was pretty wild. But because you have to you have to confirm that you feel threatened, right? With self-defense. So I don't know why the camera's doing this, you guys. It has nothing to do with me.
Okay, thank you.
That is a very interesting self-defense case. I mean, it's pretty textbook, actually, but it was good. Very interesting trial. I'll talk about a prosecutor who's stuck. Man, that was a big risk to do that. It was. It was. It worked out. The trial was wild. Oh, you remember when Bicep Guy was on the stand and then was like, well, I did have a gun. Like, what? That very, very interesting. If you've never seen it, I really recommend it. I was looking into some classic trials that Court TV has on their website for like when we have downtimes between trials or whatever, and I found a few interesting ones. That I don't know, maybe we'll do some classic trials when we have like a really big break. Everything I want to watch always seems to get postponed. We'll see. But there was the Jenny Jones civil hearing that I kind of want to watch.
Thank you.
Seems interesting.
I'm good. Bro, I'm good.
I'm gonna need them to start because I gotta go to the bathroom. Kyle Rittenhouse, Wisconsin versus Kyle Rittenhouse. It's how long of a trial was it? I want to say it was like 4 or 6 weeks, somewhere around there. But really fascinating to watch. So. No, I was not streaming when Rittenhouse started. That was quite a few years ago. But I think it's great. There's a lot of coverage on it though on YouTube. Travis Rudolph group. Let's do that. Ooh, you were watching the Ted Bundy trial. I've never watched the Ted Bundy trial. Surprisingly, I don't think I have. I watched Dahmer's sentencing trial, but I don't think so. Oh well. I mean, it's kind of crazy. So I see what you did there, Angie. Well, the other one I thought before I knew this one was happening was Florida versus Mark Severs. His name was just in the news a week or so ago, where he was having a new hearing for a new trial. And his original trial is on Court TV, but I don't know.
The Honorable Jonathan S. Frizzell presiding.
Well, yeah, that was where I watched it as well. You type a bit?
Good morning, thank you. Please be seated. Your Honor, the state calls Detective Sergeant Eric Benjamin.
All right. Sergeant Eric Brennan. What? Oh, Eric Benjamin. He is from the Berlin Police Department.
Would you like to swear with us?
Please.
Sir, can you raise your hand? Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Thank you.
Well, contain yourself, Kelly.
Sir, could you please introduce yourself and spell your last name for the jury?
Absolutely. My name is Eric Benjamin, EricBenjamin.
And sir, where do you work?
I work for the Berlin Police Department.
How long have you worked there?
I've worked there about 10 years now.
What is your current rank with the Berlin PD?
I'm a detective sergeant.
In addition to your regular duties as a detective sergeant, are you also a member of something called the Emergency Response Team?
I am.
Could you please tell the jury, what is the Emergency Response Team?
The Emergency Response Team is a group of officers who respond to high-risk situations which require additional training, equipment, and tactics to handle the situation appropriately.
And Detective Sergeant, would it be fair to say the Emergency Response Team that you're part of handles incidents like the one you described in the Berlin area and surrounding areas up kind of in the northern part of the state?
Yes,
Do you have any role within the Emergency Response Team?
I do.
What is that?
I am the team leader.
Detective Sergeant, on February 29th of 2024,
Can a girl just not go to the bathroom in peace? What is happening? Oh my goodness, I'm here. I'm here. I'm gonna save the day. What is even happening? It's weird. I mean, it's definitely a their end thing. Of course, they have chat disabled. Of course they do. Let's refresh it. Maybe it is on my end. I don't think so. See, no, it's not. Cool. Cool. Love this. I heard about outages on the news. Oh, there's Court TV saying we're having some technical issues with all the outages going around. Why? What is happening? We're working on it. Oh, do they have like storms or something? Or what? Here, let's see.
I do.
Oh, look at that.
And is that an accurate representation of where 1063 Main Street is?
That's a Court TV
Yes.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you see some other markings there for the
Hey, Ames,
City
you're
Hall and
around
the library. Are
thing.
those accurate as well?
Can you
Yes.
move
Are
my
those
thing to where
generally in the
my
downtown area in the
down
center of the
lower?
photo?
Thank you.
Yes. And if you want to approach the screen, I believe you can do that. And then up in the left, you see a red circle with a white cane. Can you point that out to the jury?
Yes, right here.
Yeah. What is at that location?
That's a Circle K gas station.
And is there a bus stop at the Circle K gas station?
Yes, there is.
And what sort of buses service that bus station?
That's the Concord Railways.
Thank you. And I'll keep you up here so you show up and down.
Cool.
We're showing you State's Exhibit 2. What is this?
That's a closer view near 1063 Main Street.
So that's Main Street in Berlin, and then that's 1063 where the red box is coming out.
Correct.
How many lanes of travel on Main Street?
2.
And is that, you just right the park on the other side, is that what you can see at the bottom of this photo?
Yes, the Heritage Park.
That last photo. What do you see there?
That's 1063 Main Street where we responded.
So we'll do all of this while we're up here.
I'll
Is 1063 Main Street multi-family home?
It is.
That's multiple apartments within that one structure.
Yes.
Is there a garage?
Yes.
All right. Can you see any of it in this photo?
Yes, you got right over here.
And is there a driveway?
Yes.
What side of the house is the driveway on?
The left side.
They don't have
So,
closed
Go
caption.
back here. You point out which side of the house the driveway is on?
Yes, right here, the left side.
Now back on Exhibit 3, is that the garage you can see down at the other end of that driveway on the left side?
Yes.
TV
This is
stuff.
State's Exhibit 3B. Is this showing the driveway in that garage?
Yes, it is.
So how many bays in that garage? 3. It's a separate structure from the house, correct?
Correct.
Does the garage have an attic?
It does.
Where's the door to the garage?
All the way to the right side, you can see it open. This photo.
Last one, State's Exhibit 3C. What are we looking at here?
That's the rear of the 1063 Main Street. Main entrance point.
So that white door in the middle there, is that the main entrance point from the parking lot?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Detective, you can go ahead and stand it.
I do have
Detective, you mentioned that you
waiting for it to
phone
come.
call, went to Berlin PD, and then staged to the location near 1063 Main Street. Did you eventually go to 1063 Main Street?
Yes, I did.
And did you go there in that Bearcat that you described?
We did.
When you got there, where did you park?
We parked right in that rear parking space right in front of the 3-bay garage.
What did you do at that point after you arrived?
So my role as a team leader is to convey basically what's going on the ground to the commander who makes the decisions as far as what we do next. At that point, we weren't sure whether or not Mr. Duren's vehicle was still in one of those 3-bay garages. If they may be inside a residence, we didn't really know. At that point, upon arrival, we decided to clear the 3-bay garage as there was a dormer up above that also posed a risk to our officers outside on the perimeter as well. So we made the decision to clear that garage first.
Before we talk about the garage, was there snow on the ground at that point?
There was.
And could you see any tracks in the snow when you arrived?
There were tracks going to the one garage bay in particular more than others.
Detective Sergeant, when you say you cleared the garage, what do you mean?
We entered into the the garage to make sure that there was nobody inside.
And we were also looking for the vehicle.
Yes,
Remember what kind of vehicle you were looking for?
I believe it was a small sedan.
Did you clear the garage?
We did.
Did you find anyone or anything in there?
No,
Was the defendant's vehicle, or excuse me, was the vehicle you were looking for in there?
no, it was not.
What did you do next after clearing the garage?
Based on the circumstances, we decided to make entry into the residence.
How did you go into the residence?
We went in through that white door you see on the rear of the building.
Was that door locked?
That was not locked.
When you got in through that door, what did you encounter?
There was a set of stairs that we later found to reach the other apartments in that building, as well as a door, which we later found reached the basement, which is a common area. And then there was another door straight ahead as we entered into this door here. And that was the main entrance pointing to Mr. Duren's apartment.
Is that door into the apartment locked?
Yes, it was.
How were you able to open it?
We utilized a ram to get through that door.
So if you could paint a picture, how many officers were with you at this time when you're entering into this apartment?
We had 4 of us on the immediate action team.
Where were you relative to those other 3?
So as the team leader, usually in the back, we call the stacks, the back of the group. So that's where I was. I was number 4 in that group.
After that door was breached, did the group go into that ground floor apartment?
Yes,
What did you see when you got in?
the apartment was completely black. So it took us a moment to get through the initial entryway until we later just briefly found the light switches that we turned on while we were in there.
So the door was locked, and the lights were off, and you went in. What did you and your teammates do?
We began clearing. There were initial rooms to the left and right, which we cleared to make sure there was nobody inside. And then we continued going straight into what we'd later find to be like kitchen area.
And can you tell us what you saw when you got to the kitchen area?
So the kitchen area opened up into 2 rooms, one to the left, one to the right. And at that point, we had multiple officers begin to go left and right from that kitchen area.
What happened next?
Deputy Green was the first person in front of me to the right. I was holding the room to the left with Sergeant Gale. We were able to start to make entry into the right room off the kitchen. And at that point, Deputy Green announced that there was a female victim on the couch with an apparent gunshot wound to the head.
What room was Deputy Green in?
That would be the living room.
So after hearing that from him, that he found a female with a gunshot wound to the head, what did you do?
We continued clearing the rest of the apartment to make sure that Mr. Duren and the children were not in there.
Did you find anyone else in the apartment?
No,
Did you go to the living room?
I did.
Tell us what you saw.
Again, we did an initial search of the apartment. I went to the female, I checked her to make sure she was in fact deceased. And while I was there, I noted several things. Her body was very cold. The appearance of her skin indicated to me, based on training and experience, that she had been there a while. I also noted a single shell casing to the right of the couch with an apparent gunshot wound to the head.
What room was Deputy Green in?
That would be the living room.
So after hearing that from him, that he'd found a female with a gunshot wound to the head, what did you do?
We continued clearing the rest of the apartment to make sure that Mr. Duren and the children were not in there.
Did you find anyone else in the apartment?
No,
Did you go to the living room?
I did.
Could you tell us what you saw?
Again, we did an initial search of the apartment. I went to the female, I checked her to make sure she was in fact deceased. And while I was there, I noted several things. Her body was very cold. The appearance of her skin indicated to me, based on training and experience, that she had been there a while. I also noted a single shell casing to the right of the couch in the living room.
You mentioned an apparent gunshot wound. Where did you see that apparent gunshot wound?
The gunshot was to the side of her head.
Where was that female sitting, or positioned, I should say?
As I was facing the couch from the front, she was all the way to the right side.
Okay. So was she sitting or lying down?
She was kind of slumped over.
Where were her feet?
They were positioned in front of her.
Okay. Were any of her feet on the coffee table?
I don't believe so.
After observing, we'll strike that, you mentioned observing a shell casing. Where did you see that?
I was directly to the right of the couch, right on the floor.
After seeing that female there and that shell casing, what did you do?
So based on the type of scene that we knew we had at that point, it was our job to maintain custody of the scene, to maintain the integrity of the investigation that we knew was forthcoming. So I made sure that there was an officer that stayed with the female victim while the rest of our team had to continue on to make sure that the other residents, if any, in the apartment were safe and secure, and that there wasn't a possibility Mr. Duren was anywhere else within that building.
What was the purpose of stationing an officer in that living room?
These type of investigations require us to maintain the integrity, and that means that nobody touches the body, nobody moves anything from the scene, and everyone's responsible for their own actions. So we post an officer with the body to make sure that all those are accounted for, all those things happen.
Other than checking for a pulse, did you or any other officers with you touch that body?
No,
Did you or any of those officers touch that shell casing?
no.
Did you and other officers then proceed to the rest of the building to clear it?
We did.
And what did you find as you did that?
There were multiple apartments within that structure that were empty. And we did note one resident on the top floor that we evacuated from the building.
Anyone in the second floor apartment?
I don't believe so.
Did you check the basement for people as well?
Yes.
Did you find anyone in the basement?
No.
Once that whole building was searched, what happened next?
I made sure I was the last one out, and I taped over the entry exit of that building, notified dispatch that I was the last one out, and I made sure I posted officers at locations around the residence that would maintain the custody of that building to make sure that nobody went in or out, and we would start a scene log at that point to make sure that anyone that did arrive on scene was logging in.
Was there police tape put around the building as well?
There was.
One moment, please. Detective Sergeant, you mentioned that the door into the apartment was locked. Could you tell us, was that locked with the knob or with the deadbolt?
I'm sorry, the first entry door or the door to the apartment?
The door to the apartment.
Yes, that had a deadbolt on it.
The deadbolt was locked?
Yes.
No further questions.
So you had time to lock the door. So,
Good morning, Detective Sergeant.
Good morning.
One question. Like Berlin Police Department's phone number 603-752-3131.
Yes.
And if you were to Google that, that number would pop up.
I would think so.
No more questions, thank you.
did his defense team just ask that?
Okay, can Detective Sergeant Benjamin step down?
Because he better have called that phone
May
number
step down.
then.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. A log, can you believe that? That's crazy. I think her dad called. I think her dad called Dustin, and then the dad called. I was a little trying to figure things out during his testimony, I'll be honest, so I'm sure they'll reiterate it again of who called who. But that was short and
Around
sweet.
this time, the state would call Mark Duren.
Mark Duren. Oh, this is a. Who's that? Duren.
Mr. Duren, if you could remain standing and please raise your right hand.
Oh, I wonder
Do you
if
swear
this
to
is.
tell the truth under pains and penalties of perjury today?
I do.
Thank you, you may be seated.
Surely that's not his dad, is it? Oh, Elwin Duren is on the witness list.
Sir, could you please state your name for the record?
Mark Philip Duren,
Mr. Duren, where do you currently live?
in Pine City, Minnesota.
And for how long have you resided there?
About 4 years now.
How long have you lived in Minnesota?
Well, off and on most of my life.
What do you do for a living?
I'm retired.
And what did you do prior to retiring?
I was a deputy sheriff with Anoka County in Minnesota.
Okay. The Anoka County Sheriff's Department.
Yes,
Are
his
you
dad?
married?
yes.
To whom are you married?
Deborah Duren.
And how many children do you have together?
We have 2 together.
Okay. And you have one additional child?
I do.
Okay. Do you know the defendant seated to my right at trial table?
I certainly do.
Who is that?
It's my son, Dustin Duren.
Not so.
In terms of your children, is Dustin your oldest child, your middle child?
Middle child.
In
His-
February of 2024, where was Mr. Duren, the defendant, living?
In Berlin, New Hampshire.
Is it fair to say that, or I'm sorry, do you know how long he'd been living in Berlin, New Hampshire?
Approximately a month.
He'd moved there, in fact, in January of 2024.
Yes,
And prior to his moving to New Hampshire to live in Berlin, New Hampshire, did he reside with you in Minnesota?
he did.
Had you, through the course of having Mr. Duren live with you and being your son, met his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, Caitlyn Naffziger?
Yes,
And this may sound like a silly question, but you have in fact met his children, is that correct?
very much, yes.
Can you please identify the 2 children that that Mr. Duren had with Ms. Naffziger?
Elwin and Valen,
In February of 2024, how old was Elwin?
4,
And how old was Valen?
1.
Is it true that at this time you are currently sharing custody of Elowen and Valen with Miss Naffziger's family?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Mr. Duren, I'm going to show you what is marked for evidence for identification as State's Exhibit 4 with respect to this case. I'll ask you to take a look at this. Do you recognize what you're looking at?
Yes.
What is it?
Caitlyn and Elowen?
Does this fairly and accurately show both of them in this image?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state requests the state's 4 be admitted into evidence.
No objection.
The ID may be stricken and it shall be considered a full exhibit.
Now, Mr. Duren, in February of 2024, specifically on February 29th of 2024, did you make a call to the Berlin Police Department?
I did.
Can you explain to us why?
Dustin had called my wife, and she had informed me.
Based on a conversation you had with your wife, you called the Berlin Police Department?
Yes,
What did you tell the Berlin Police Department?
that I'd received information that Caitlyn had been shot.
Okay. Did you tell the Berlin Police Department why Caitlyn had been shot?
Yes.
Objection, we approach your next.
Yeah. I'm going as fast as I can, you guys. I'm so sorry. Oh, the worst. Oh, I feel so bad for this guy. I really do. I mean, he himself being law enforcement, your son goes and does something like this. That's not great. And then having to call the police about your own kid. That's tough. That is tough. Sorry, guys. Let's see. I did appreciate Chad singing the Daria theme song for us. Thank you. I appreciate that. You have to behave now. Yeah, let me so that's dad then. Deborah's the mom, she's on the witness list. Elowen is on the witness list too. I really don't know why they would call someone who is 4. I think she's just there as a technicality, maybe. So that's interesting. There's also a Carolyn Campbell. I'm not sure who that is. I'm assuming it's probably Caitlyn's mother or something, because there's not very many civilian witnesses. So all the rest are law enforcement and, well, law enforcement. It's who they all are. So that's interesting. Goodness. Well, at least Court TV is back. I prefer, as you can see, the difference between Court TV and Law and Crime. 1, this video is more clear. 2, they also have closed captions. And I'm a big closed caption person, and I know many of you are too, especially when the audio is not great or people have accents. It just helps a lot following the story. So. So he calls his dad afterwards. Interesting. And his dad lived, so if his parents lived in Minnesota, what family did he have in New Hampshire then? I wonder. Lady in Gray says, I can hardly watch TV without CC anymore. Same. I don't know if Elbow Feet's listening, but he gets annoyed because I always have them on. But I'm like, but Sometimes you say things and then I miss things. And so I just have them on all the time, no matter what. Except he does make me turn them off, like when we're watching like a show where they're like revealing like who is voted off or something. Sometimes he makes me turn them off for that. Otherwise, he just closes his eyes so that CC doesn't give it away. Tracy says, I respect him calling on his son. Brian Laundrie's parents would never. Right? Right? Good point, Tracy. I like the way you think. Yeah, this has to be incredibly difficult. So, spoilers. Spoilers about what? I don't know. Either Daria or the case. I'm not sure.
Okay, members of the jury, I'm going to allow Mr. Duren's answer to the state's question. I'm instructing you not to consider it for purposes of the truth of the matter with respect to what is contained in the statement, but instead, you can consider it only for the specific reason of what was said to the Berlin Police Department at that time, and you shall consider it for no other purpose. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Duren, you indicated that you called the Berlin Police Department because you had received information that your son had shot and killed Miss Naffziger. What did you tell the Berlin Police Department when you called them?
What did I tell them?
What did you tell them?
Exactly that I had received information from my wife that Dustin had shot Caitlyn.
Did that information include why?
No,
You're indicating today that the defendant called your wife's phone, that's Deborah's cell phone?
correct.
What is Deborah's cell phone number?
763-606.
Sorry, I'm going to mute that because they aren't. So, just courtesy.
Phone if you want. I just called Deb on my phone.
Especially since these are his
Understandable,
parents.
most of us do. Are you familiar with the cell phone number 763?
We're going to mute that one too.
What is that correct to be?
That is my wife's phone number.
Okay, so 763-35.
Cool.
Correct.
What time of day did that call come to your wife?
I don't recall.
No, foundation.
Sustained.
Were you present at home at the time the call came in?
I was.
Okay, and at what time did the call occur?
I don't recall.
Okay. Was it in the daytime or the nighttime?
It was in the evening.
You met elbow feet, Amos.
When your wife received a call from your son, where were you?
I was in the living room watching TV.
What were you watching?
I don't recall.
Where was your wife?
She was in the bedroom.
No, you can't.
How long was your wife on the phone?
I would estimate 5 to 10 minutes. I wasn't present, so I don't know exactly.
At any point during this conversation where your son called and provided this information, did your wife leave the bedroom and come into the living room?
After the phone call, she came out and informed me.
Following that phone call, did you and your wife receive a video?
Not that I'm aware of.
You didn't report to the Berlin Police Department or to state police that you received a video from your son?
I believe that was after.
So after that phone call ended, did you receive a video?
Yes.
Okay. What was that video?
Of Dustin and the girls in the car.
Where were they, besides in the car? Could you tell where they were?
I could not.
Did it look like you said they were in a vehicle? Did they look like they were inside of a garage, in a parking lot? What was the background?
I don't recall. I just recall the inside of the car and the occupants.
I think he knows his son is screwed.
Following your 911 call or your emergency call to the Berlin Police Department, did you continue communicating with police?
I did,
You made, in fact, several phone calls to the police department, correct?
correct.
At least 2 that evening?
Yes, ma'am.
And other officers called you,
Yes,
and you shared information with them?
I did.
Did you also share photographs of the defendant with the police?
I did.
Did you provide them with photographs of the 2 children?
Yes,
Mr. Duren, as a sheriff's deputy, were you assigned a service weapon?
I was.
Okay.
Several.
Several service weapons? When you retired from the sheriff's department, what did you do with those several service weapons?
I gifted one to my son Dustin and another to my son Nicholas.
What kind of gun did you gift to Dustin?
Uh-oh.
It was a Beretta.
No.
Beretta 9mm?
Yes,
Oh. Well, that is most unfortunate.
Showing you State's Exhibit 20A, which is marked for identification purposes. Do you recognize this?
yes, ma'am.
What is it?
It's a Beretta handgun.
Do you know if that is your service weapon that was a Beretta handgun?
I would not know unless I looked at the serial number.
Do you have
Yes.
a serial number to that weapon?
Not right offhand, no.
But you would recognize it if you observed it.
Is
Is
that
that fair to say?
Not without looking at my records to
I thought the same thing,
identify the
Savage.
serial number.
But you gifted a gun just like that to your son Dustin, correct?
I did.
Course indulgence.
Okay, I'm gonna try to go to the bathroom, and I hope nothing happens while I'm gone. But I will be right back.
Thank you, Mr. Duren. I have no other questions. Morning, Mr. Duren.
Good morning.
Mr. Duren, you testified that you were a sheriff at the Anoka County Sheriff's Department in Minnesota
Correct.
for 19 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And had you, in your role as a sheriff, did you have to testify in court?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are aware of the importance of telling the truth, correct?
Absolutely.
And to be honest,
Yes.
and to be as complete and detailed as possible.
Yes, ma'am.
When you were watching TV in your living room in Minnesota on the night of February 29th, 2024, you testified that Deb received a phone call.
Correct.
Did you hear her receive that phone call, or did you find out after she came in and to tell you?
I found out afterwards she came out of the bedroom hysterical.
So she was hysterical, she came out to talk to you. Prior to her coming out, you had no idea she received a phone call from Dustin?
I knew she was on the phone. I did not know who she was speaking with.
So Deb comes out hysterical and provides you information. And as a result of that, you called 911, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, so when you called 911, you actually got Minnesota dispatcher, correct?
Correct.
And what did you report to them?
That I had received information from my wife that Caitlyn had been shot.
Okay, and did they transfer you to dispatch in New Hampshire?
Yes, ma'am.
So you didn't have to like hang up and call again somewhere, correct?
I don't believe so.
When you were transferred, you spoke to someone from dispatch and gave them the same information, correct?
I did.
Answered all their questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Provided them information like your son's name, right?
Correct?
Caitlyn's name,
Yes.
the kids' names,
Yes.
what Dustin drove for a vehicle,
Yes.
his address.
Yes.
You didn't leave anything out.
No.
You were concerned for your son.
Yes. And for Caitlyn.
And for Caitlyn, and your grandchildren.
Yes.
You didn't speak to Dustin that night though, correct?
I did not.
You were not in Berlin on the night of February 29th, correct?
No.
You didn't see what Caitlyn said that night, correct?
No.
You didn't hear what Caitlyn said that night,
No.
correct? You didn't see what Caitlyn did that night, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Duren, you're a Marine veteran, correct?
That's correct.
And what years did you serve?
1977 to 81.
And as a Marine, are you expected to be familiar with firearms?
I am.
As a Marine,
Join
are
the
you
club.
expected to shoot
He will as
firearms
well.
with precision?
Yes.
Are all Marines expected to be able to deliver well-aimed shots to eliminate the adversary?
Yes, ma'am.
Every Marine is a rifleman, correct?
Correct.
And every Marine, regardless of their specialty, go to infantry training, correct?
That's correct.
They're trained in ground combat, correct?
That's correct.
Everyone in the Marines is expected to be combat ready, correct?
That is correct.
And what does combat ready mean?
That at any time they could be called into a war zone.
And as a Marine, you're trained to be ready for combat and to be a combat marksman, correct?
Correct.
You told us that you gifted Dustin a Beretta M9, correct?
Yes.
And that was your former service weapon.
Yes.
And it became yours upon retirement.
Yes.
Now, are you familiar with the M9?
I am.
Okay,
I think it
was that your
depends.
regular service weapon that you used? as
Yes.
sheriff?
Yes.
Was that the only weapon M9 that you used as the sheriff?
It was the only Beretta. Every few years, we would be issued new firearms.
So the M9, the last firearm, the M9 that you give to Dustin, the last firearm that you had before you retired?
Yes,
The M9 is a pistol, correct?
it is.
A semi-automatic handgun?
I
Yes.
think so.
And what does that mean, that it's semi-automatic? Objection, Your Honor.
Basis?
Hearing may be approached.
Oh, no.
Sure.
No. No. Sorry, mute now. Look at that. Got there just in time. Well, Amos, it can depend on different states. If he's ever been involuntarily committed, that can be a problem. I'm going to quote Spider-Man because, of course, I am. Like, with great power comes great responsibility, and if you have been trained to kill, which they have, respectfully, okay, but that is a great power. And with that comes responsibility. Even when you do have an illness like PTSD, well, it's not your fault that you have it. It's also your responsibility to protect others and yourself. So it's gonna be tough here. Yeah, there are lots of rules around it, but it wasn't a gun that like he went and got. It was given by his dad, which is fine. I know, right? I'm going to be a pro by the time we're done with with this trial. Ugh, I hate when they do that white noise stuff. It's very annoying. So, I mean, those are just my thoughts so far on, you know, if you're trained to, you know, do that, you have to have some sort of restraint. You know, I'm pretty sure they tell you about restraint when you're in, you know, you can't just go shooting everybody.
It means that it will fire every time you pull the trigger.
And the M9 is, has several safety features, correct?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And actually was developed for use by the armed forces, correct?
Okay.
Yes.
And it has a fail-proof safety system in it, correct?
Yes.
Unsure.
Mr. Duren, how many grandchildren do you have?
7.
7 grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
And you testified earlier that Ellen and Valen are Dustin's true children, correct?
Correct.
With Caitlyn, right?
Yes.
And at the time of this incident in February of 2024, Ellen was 4
Yes.
and Valen was 1.
Yes.
And at the time of the incident in February 2024, Dustin and Ellen lived in Berlin, Hampshire, correct?
Correct.
And Valen and Caitlyn had just come out a few days prior from Minnesota, correct? Knowledge.
Sustained.
When, before Dustin and Ellen moved to Berlin, Hampshire, he lived with you and your wife, correct?
That's correct.
And Ellen and Valen lived with you part-time, correct?
Correct.
The other part of the time they lived with Caitlyn, correct?
That is correct.
And
Okay.
you were aware that Dustin and Caitlyn would exchange the kids for objection, hearsay. The other question,
They were too quick. Too quick. Almost got it. All right. So they were living with his parents in Minnesota. And he's saying that him and Caitlyn would switch off for who had the kids and when. Still doesn't establish any legality of that. At least I didn't hear it. And if I did, I apologize. Doing my best over here. I wish we could hear the objections too. I know some of the trials we watched when we watched the Steve Lawson, Joseph Lawson, Brandon Brooks Hauk trials. We actually got to hear the sidebars because it was after the fact, and they were very interesting to listen to. So, unsure. I do not know much about this case at all. We are all learning together. So y'all have some great questions, though. Amos says, I just don't get where they are going with this and why it matters that his dad gifted him the gun, except to establish where the gun came from. In no way can blame be on the dad for gifting him one. Well, if it was to blame, he would have been charged for sure, but I don't think that's actually a factor. I think it is just to establish where he, in fact, got it from. I don't think he did anything illegal by gifting him that gun or anything like that. I didn't know that officers got to keep their guns when issued new ones. Didn't know that. That's interesting. Wonder if that's everywhere, just the Minnesota thing. I don't know.
So, Mr. Duren, when Dustin lived with you and your wife and his children, several months, correct?
Correct.
And you were able to observe Dustin's relationship with his children, correct?
Yes.
And specifically with Ellen, you observed how close they were, correct?
Extremely.
Extremely close. Dustin loved being a father as far as you can see, correct?
Very much so.
And he cared deeply for Ellen. Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Minnesota is in fact an unwed mother state, by the way. I just looked that up. So don't know, Tracy. I'm sure somebody in the chat can help you out with that. I don't really
So based on your
really know how that
observations
works.
between Dustin and Ellen, he cared deeply for Ellen, correct?
That is correct.
And when Dustin and the girls lived with you part-time, they were there 98 days and not 48 days, correct?
I believe that's correct.
So Dustin and the girls were there at your home at a higher ratio than when Caitlyn had the girls, correct?
Yes.
There's Savage with an answer for you, Tracy. Depends on the state.
Redirect?
Mr. Duren, you talked a little bit with defense counsel about being a Marine and having Marine training with respect to how to use a gun, correct?
Yes.
Part of your training as a Marine also involves being disciplined,
Yes.
when to appropriately use a gun?
Yes.
Okay. Does it also include when not to use a gun?
Yes.
As a Marine, are you taught to mindlessly fire?
Of course not.
You're in fact taught to assess situations, correct?
Yes.
To only fire when necessary,
Yes.
to take out a threat.
Objection, Your Honor, leading.
I can rephrase, Your Honor.
Withdrawn? Sustained?
With respect to your training, Mr. Duren, are you taught as a Marine to shoot at a specific individual?
If necessary, yes.
Okay. And are you taught when and how to decide if it's necessary to shoot?
Yes.
How about an unarmed person? Is it necessary to shoot them?
Objection.
Overruled.
You may answer, Mr. Duren.
No, it does not, Tracy.
Yes.
It's necessary to shoot an unarmed person?
Objection, Your Honor, can we approach?
Yep.
So close. So to answer Tracy, Tracy says, if he signed the birth certificate, does that automatically give them 50-50 custody? No, not at all. In an unwed mother state, the mother has 100% sole custody of a child until the father goes to the courts and establishes paternity. That could mean brings a birth certificate, could mean a DNA test. Once they establish paternity with the courts, then the father is to then file a lawsuit, whatever you want to call it, for child custody to get his rights. And then things get split pretty 50-50, depending, of course, case by case. But it is up to the father to establish that with the courts, right? So if they never went to court, they don't have something where they both signed and a judge signed off on it. Caitlyn had 100% sole custody of those children. He had no rights to them whatsoever. If that is what happened in this scenario here, which we haven't been told that they had an agreement, legal one, and I feel like if they did, they would be like, oh, well, the custody document says he gets them from here to here. And if you do go to court and somebody wants to move out of state, it's not always up to the parents if they're allowed or not. You have to go to court and the judge has to sign off on that, usually is what happens. So that's why I'm a little like, what is the actual legal custody situation here? Or I'll say this, that's how it is in my state. I know that because that's, I have that. So, oh no, why is there a circle? Don't do this, Court TV, don't do this. So, yeah, love the questions you guys are having. Let's go back to talk about, let me refresh this, make sure it's not my side of things. It's probably not, but still. Oh, okay, they're still in court there. No, I don't need you taking up my whole computer screen, please and thank you. I don't know why it's doing that. Hold on. Let me get rid of that real quick and re-pull it up again. There we go. Sometimes it does that. I can't have it, and it took up my whole screen again. Hell. That's stupid. Cool. Love when it does that. I don't know why, but okay. Well, let me move that over here. Guess I'll just put everything on one screen. Fine. Very annoying. Let's see. We were talking about the gun. Okay. Because somebody had asked if he had to, okay, it was Tracy. When you are gifted a gun, do you have to register it? So, let's see. Angie says whether you need to register a gifted gun depends on your state laws. There is no federal firearm registration for most guns. Some states require a background check, even for private gifts. Yeah, it's very varying by state. Buffy says, but like, even if you don't re-register it, nobody is checking that you did. Also true and kind of a problem. Lady in Gray says, not in Tennessee, you don't. Here, you only have to register a gun when you buy it new from a licensed dealer. Includes gun shows. Interesting.
And does your Marine training include information on shooting persons who are unarmed?
Yes.
That's interesting. Yeah, not all states are unwed mothers.
As a Marine, is that something that you were trained to do?
Yes.
Are there certain circumstances under which your training tells you that that can occur?
It depends on the threat at the time.
Tracy.
As a Marine, you're trained in ground combat.
Correct?
What is combat?
It means taking out your enemy, if necessary.
Taking out your enemy? And are you trained as a Marine to be thoughtful with respect to your use of a handgun in combat?
Yes.
No other questions, John?
Across?
Yes.
Okay, can Mr. Duren be excused?
That's fine with the state.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Duren. You may step down.
Okay, I wonder who's going to be up next. Probably the mother. Oof.
Your Honor, can we approach this?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, no. Okay. I got it. While they're doing this, I'm going to re-pull. No. I will pull list over here. They're making things so hard for me. Don't appreciate it. There we go. Let's see. Terry says, I feel for this guy and I'm only listening, not watching. His tone of voice makes me sad. Yeah, I mean, having to be the one to call the police and work with the police. I mean, he's with the sheriff's department himself in Minnesota. That's tough. That's really tough to do. You know, Tracy says the dad is trying to be so respectful in the words he uses, not over for his son, but his grandchildren that he's helping to raise will hear about it, about their mom. Yeah, I think he's trying to be as cooperative as he can and balance that. Now, they did talk about, since he was a Marine as well, they were using that to show like you are taught restraint. You are taught, you know, you can't just go doing this. So Pila's mom asked how many days for the trial. We do not know. We do not know. Based on the witness lists that I saw, maybe a week. It's not going to be very long. I would be very surprised if this is going to be very long. The defense only has 5 witnesses on their list, and that doesn't include Dustin, who's probably going to take the stand since he's claiming self-defense. And then the state mostly has just law enforcement, and they're not going to need to call all of those people. So I don't think it's going to be very long. So yeah, I'm thinking about a week, maybe. Him saying take out your enemy wasn't great. No, that wasn't great to put that, but he's not wrong. It just doesn't sound great. Oh, and we all know you're not the sensitive type, Terry. Terry, did you even see what I was wearing? I know you're not watching, but it's a pink sweater. I thought you should know. I did some shopping while you were gone, and I bought 3 things. There were different shades of pink. So you should be proud of me because I owned none except for the ones you got me and sent me. Oh, where's my Pop-Tart? I wanted a Pop-Tart last night, and little Llama had eaten all the Pop-Tarts. And I was so sad. We did get these lemon blueberry ones. Oh, let me see if this
social media as to what is happening as part of the trial. So I'm sorry for all the instructions, but they are necessary under the circumstances. We'll try to reconvene again directly at 1 o'clock. Thank you.
Oh, it's lunchtime. Okay. It's Harry. It's lunchtime. And they're reconvening at 1. Okay. All right. Sorry, we missed some of that. I can go back and
Comments, because over the length of the trial, these things may come up. Lancaster, the town of Lancaster is not a large area. It may be possible that during the lunch break, you may run into one of the attorneys. You may run into someone who is a witness in this matter. Obviously, I instruct you to not engage in any way with anyone who is an attorney.
All right, that's just him giving them their details there. Okay.
Thank you. Court will be in recess.
All right, court is in recess until 1 p.m. Eastern. So, well, that was, I thought they weren't going to go to lunch till later, but maybe they're waiting for a witness to come that's not there yet. I'm not sure. Dave, I perked up when I heard Pop-Tarts. I mean, yes. Ugh. I look better, smaller today. That's fine. Terry, you just let me know when you're ready. Did little Llama leave an empty box in there to make you excited? No, he actually threw them away, or somebody threw them away. I'm gonna go with it was probably Elbow Feet, not him, but maybe he did. Maybe he did. But we had like a bunch of different ones, and they were all gone, and I was sad. Now, yes, lemon blueberry Pop-Tarts. I was very excited for those. Elbow Feet, my favorite flavors are lemon and blueberry together, and I was so excited. They were not good. Do not recommend. And I don't like regular blueberry Pop-Tarts, but it was not good. And so I told little Llama, I was like, you can have those, because I was like, no, these are mommy's. And so that never happens here. Now little Llama is getting better about that. So you can do a midday early. Well, just let me know when you're ready, Terry. I have it set to portal everybody over to you. R.I.P. Lola's mom. We'll see you back later. There's always empty boxes in the pantry that make me think we have food that we don't really have. Yeah, all the time. Agreed. Oh, you're ready now. Okay, well, great. Well, you guys, here's what we're gonna do. Terry, she does Midday Missing every Monday and Wednesday. If this is your first time tuning in our channel, I recommend you just follow the portal over and give Midday Missing a watch. It's one of our most important shows because Terry covers missing persons cases that don't get a lot of attention for numerous reasons. So she does her best to bring attention to those, and just learning about them and sharing their stories could help get answers for them and their families. So I will be back probably around 12:50. Don't worry, she's done well before court starts. It's about 20-30 minutes. And then I will be back at 12:50 Eastern. We'll hang out for a few minutes before court starts, just, in case for funsies. He said 1 p.m. Eastern, Angie, was when they needed to be back too. So get ready for the portal, everybody. Hands and feet tucked in safely, and your butts, I guess. And I will see you soon. There will be another stream for our afternoon popping up in just a minute. When I get off here, I'll be scheduling that. So make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss when we go live for the afternoon stream. And if I don't see you till then, go forth and be amazing. Bye, guys.